practice next week, we think, when they break camp and go back to Kansas City. Josh Simmons, it was a back, but then Matt Verderame had the report that he was told nothing serious, all good. He won't play, probably not going to play this weekend, but all good. It's not like this is an issue and he's going to miss some time and he's going to see a back specialist or something like that. Okay, so if that's what actually happens, if you're talking about all of camp, those are the sort of things that took place. But one of the positions that we talked about that they were so thin at that we're not sure that they could suffer an injury to was the defensive line.
Yeah.
I don't know how long the injury will take, but it doesn't sound great when they say it's a rupture of the plantar fascia, not just a tear or dealing with plantar fasciitis. I don't know how much that is the same, whatever. My wife deals with plantar fasciitis. It's painful. She's not a defensive end for the Kansas City Chiefs. And Ashton Gillotte.
She might have to be. She's tall. She's tall. She can get her hands up. She can knock the ball down.
Absolutely. Our kids get their athleticism from her. They get their good looks and wit from me. No, they don't. They get the good looks and athleticism from her, and they get their smart-assery and annoyance from me. So I'm offering something, bringing something to the table there. But I know how painful it is for her. But Ashton Gillotte has ruptured the plantar fascia in his foot. Again, I don't know how long that's going to take to recover. Maybe that's a 2-week injury. Maybe it's a month. Maybe it's 4 months. I'm not sure. But it's an issue because I would be concerned that even when he comes back, is it something that's fully healed? Does he try to play through it? Are they in that desperate need of somebody to fill that role? Because we talked about in the aggregate, it's kind of like a platoon situation in right field or center field or second base or wherever you would have a platoon in baseball. I was just thinking with the Royals specifically,
Sure.
But a platoon situation where you would have Gillotte and R. Mason Thomas combined, that you would have your defensive end, 3-down defensive end in the aggregate. Well, without Gillotte, who's the defensive end that's in there on first and second down to help stop the run? Without Gillotte, who's the guy that's going to be filling in some of the Leo Chenal role that we saw Steve Spagnuolo using Gillotte? They had different plans for him this year than maybe what we thought going into the year. Certainly what Spags thought. And now there's even more dire straits, Sterling, to go out and bring a veteran in.
Yeah, and honestly, I didn't like Strong. I was less than pleased with the Emmanuel Ogbah signing. Not because I don't think you need a guy, but because
I totally forgot about him, to be honest with you.
Well, no.
Like,
and
bringing a veteran, Emmanuel Ogbah, okay.
But
sure.
now it becomes even more important that you did bring at least someone in who has done it in the NFL, or else you would be looking at an Ethan Herkett or a VJ Anthony as a legit snap getter. At least you have a guy who's been there and done it. Last year was bad for Ogbah, but the 2 years prior he was solid. I guess you're also hoping that R. Mason Thomas comes into
be a 3-down lineman,
3-down guy. And then FAU, you have to hope that he actually is healthy, actually is good, and he can play more than a 5 snaps in a game.
Only in obvious, specific passing situations.
Which is funny because I thought FAU, when we saw him in the smattering of snaps that he would receive, I thought actually was fine against the run. I mean, he had a couple of tackles for loss. I mean, we'll find out.
In his career or last weekend?
Career.
No, I was being honest with you. No, I'm because I'm with you. When he played some, you're like, okay, well, he made a play there in the Super Bowl when he got reps.
Yes.
He made a couple plays for the Chiefs, and like, okay, well, maybe he can offer something the next year, and then it never actually got materialized in him doing that.
Shockingly, I'm not a doctor.
Okay.
That's why I'm doing Sports Talk Radio. It'd be weird if I was a doctor and did Sports Talk Radio instead. I hear the careers are very similar, translatable.
Yes, absolutely.
It looks like the recovery
time. They both
time,
need patience.
Recovery time is a horrible song by Guns N' Roses. 6 to 12 weeks is the normal recovery time, but if you are a athlete, it's sometimes 3 to 6 months.
Oh, okay.
Is what I'm looking at right here. And if it's a severe rupture, extended immobilization and structured rehabilitation, so 3 to 6 months you're looking at.
Yeah.
If that's what the diagnosis ends up becoming.
Now, let me ask you this. Did they know this about Gillotte when they signed Ogbah? I'm wondering.
No, that's a great call.
Because it was a hamstring, and then he left again. And I just thinking about this because, quite honestly, Sterling, you brought up Ogbah. Here's how much I thought he was going to be a part of the team. I forgot they signed him, and it was like 2 days ago. It was such on a put it aside and who cares signing. Like, I expect 0 from Emmanuel Ogbah this year. And so even with that signing, I'm not even thinking about him being on the team this year. I'm like, oh, they need to go out and sign a veteran. Who are they going to sign? Well, they got Emmanuel Ogbah. Oh, that's right. I meant somebody that you think could actually play the game. Maybe it's a trade. Maybe it's what Chris Shea was talking about yesterday and clearing up some cap space in the next couple of weeks to go and make a move if need be. The unforeseen. I don't know that Gelati rupturing his plantar fascia was something that you could foresee. That would be an unforeseen, unfortunate injury. If you need to create some cap space to go and trade for somebody or sign somebody that gets cut to bring in and try to throw numbers at that position for as long as Gelati's going to be out, because I think that's what you're going to have to do. Von Miller just signed, and I don't know if that would have even been a difference maker. Well, Joey Bosa, is he retiring? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Not sure that that's going to be a difference maker, because then you're talking about Gelati and Bosa being injured. It's like, then you're both of those guys are out injured. So not sure that would be the answer either. But I wonder if the Ogbah signing was part of Gelati, and Chris Shea yesterday saying, well, in the next couple of weeks, going to have to we'll be creating some space, not just to keep the lights on. He mentioned that first, but then said creating some space for some other things that you can do with being the 9th pick in the waiver wire. They've got a higher priority than they've ever had with Andy Reid in the waiver, besides year number 1 in the waiver priority list. So they can go out and make some moves with a player that might be released. So this would be one to where some of that movement next Saturday and Sunday is going to come into play, and Monday when all the cut down happens.
Yeah, you're going to have to go to the Bank of Creed Humphrey.
The Bank of Creed. Yeah,
the Bank of Creed.
That's right.
I think that's the first and
they need to take that salary cap higher.
With arms wide open.
That's right. So hopefully he approaches them with arms wide open of I'll restructure the contract.
Because you look at the free agents right now, and again, if you look at the free agents, it's not great.
Yeah.
It's not great. It's why I thought even a Calais Campbell, even at his age, or Cam Jordan, even at their age, I'm like, yeah, but at least they're productive players still. Hassan Reddick, it doesn't even fit this Chiefs defense stylistically.
Right.
Joey Bosa, we talked about. Leonard Floyd, again, not really this style defensively, and he's going to be 34.
But even Hassan Reddick is going to be more of your R. Mason Thomas or FAU.
Correct.
Like a pass rushing,
you don't
rushing
need that
specialist.
guy. Danico Autry could be intriguing as just a run stuffer, but he's also going to be he's 36.
It's Slim Pickens.
Derek Barnett, who had a couple good years with the Broncos, I believe, and he was with the
Eagles, right?
Texans last year.
Texans.
And then Josh Pascal, there's your Kentucky for you.
Oh, yeah, Josh Pascal, yeah. He's battled injuries throughout most of his career, too.
So the list of guys. And if we're being...
And as Sarin likes to say, here into the list of guys that that have blood pumping through their veins and they've played football before.
Janarius Robinson, I know that might be a funny name of like why are you even bringing him up, but he was on the roster last year, and I think the past couple kind of getting called up and down. So I wonder if they say, hey, let's bring him back in, or if you're right. I think that the astute observation could be they brought in Emmanuel Ogbah because they knew there was something with Ashton Gelati.
Well, and I took note of the first passing situation on Saturday, and I think this is probably an indication of what they may do. But the first obvious passing situation against the Rams on Saturday, the 4 defensive linemen, it would have been Chris Jones, we know that, but he was out after play number 1. The 4 defensive linemen left to right were Karlaftis, FAU, Woods, R. Mason Thomas. So Karlaftis and R. Mason Thomas were the bookend defensive ends. It was Peter Woods, and they had FAU, like, the Giants NASCAR package that Spags loved. They had FAU lining up as a defensive tackle in that obvious passing situation. I'm guessing that would be Chris Jones. But then, does FAU fill in for Karlaftis? Probably not. Does he go that route and Peter Woods is off the field? I mean, I wouldn't want that to be the case, because Peter Woods is there as an explosive athlete that when he's not getting double teamed, it almost feels like he was game planned for on Saturday, that he's expected to be a disruptor. But I took a note of that the first obvious passing situation, he had a pass rushing defensive end playing defensive tackle. Chris Jones wasn't in there. I don't know, would FAU have filled in the role of R. Mason Thomas? No idea, but it feels like they have maybe not just a plethora of incredible talent. Like it's not like what you're looking at when you think about the Seattle Seahawks and the pass rushers they have, and just wave after wave after wave that they send at you. But it feels like they have different options maybe that could help them in the pass rushing situation. I also wonder, Sterling, like we're talking about filling in for Ashton Gelati as a run stopper. I mean, honestly, how effective was Michael Dana last year as a run stopper? Like, if we're saying, like, oh, wow, you're missing that spot, well, is it that much of a downgrade? Like, we talked, like, the biggest issue last year was rushing the passer. The biggest issue last year for this Chiefs team was the fact that when it was passing situations, 3rd and long, they couldn't get there. But early downs, they were pretty damn good at stopping the run. Part of that was Leo Chenal. So who plays that role? We know it's not Ashton Gelati, but also they got better with Kairos Tonga in the middle there in helping stop the run. So if that's all we're looking at and saying, okay, you need somebody to fill in and stop the run, you were hoping maybe it was Gelati. But if you had to choose and say, hey, they lost somebody that can, it's not Gelati, or I mean not Karlaftis, but they lost somebody that would help stop the run, but their pass rushing specialists are still healthy, and you had to choose one or the other, I think you'd make the choice of, all right, you lose somebody that can set the edge and keep those pass rushers there, because I would hope that with Jones, Karlaftis, Tonga, Bolton, Tranquil, Hicks, the safeties, the corners, the way that Spags likes to attack and tackle, I would hope that they would be still stout enough in the run defense that you don't lose, or you still gain and get better in the passing situations. That was such a huge issue last year in rushing the passer, and as it stands right now, knock on wood, breaking camp, they would be healthy in their pass rushing players to start the season.
Yeah, so I agree with you. That would be the choice I would take. It almost like Mike Dana was great against the run last year. He graded out at a 55.
So he was generic.
Bad.
He was bad. If
below average.
Yeah.
So I think we overvalued, because Mike Dana was very useful for a lot of years here in Kansas City.
He had
a great draft pick. And
beautiful contract year, Sterling. Sometimes it's all about timing. He had those sacks, and his great year was in the contract year, so they signed him again, and it didn't work out after that.
And it didn't work, and so you're right. I don't think you're losing a lot, even if it is, let's say, FAU or R. Mason Thomas. How much worse are they going to be against the run with the added ability to hopefully get after the quarterback?
Yeah.
I think Ogba would be your Mike Dana this year, is what it basically comes down to. I think that's what you're looking at. As a guy who's going to eat snaps up, you know what, you trust him. He's not going to do a ton of quick wins against the tackle, but can he be semi-versatile? Can he be serviceable in the 20% of snaps, 30% of snaps a game that he is going to receive? And by the way, right now, don't ever play Karlaftis another snap until the regular season starts.
Bubble
wrap Karlaftis, because if he goes down, this team is...
It's rough at defensive end if they lose him. Then you're talking about maybe having to make a trade, for somebody. But who's going to then trade a defensive end at the, right before the season starts? That would have been valuable to that team.
Yeah, I'm not being facetious. I would not play Karlaftis in the preseason again. I'm bubble wrap that man.
It's so, I'm laughing at myself in my assessment of the signing of Emmanuel Ogba, because I thought so little of it in the Emmanuel Ogba signing, that sitting here talking about Gelati, starting the conversation going, boy, you feel like they got to go and sign a veteran. And you're like, Ogba. I'm like, oh, that's right. They did sign that guy. That was such a in one ear, out the other to me of, oh, they signed Ogba. Well, he knows the system. Okay, there we go. Back to the well again.
It'd be like bringing back Juju or Derek Nottie last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was a little along those lines of, it's not great, but I guess
it's a body.
Yeah.
It's a guy that played in the NFL. So that might be what his job is going to be, Emmanuel Ogba, first and second down if need be, just simply be in there and stop the run. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We're hanging out at Blue Hills. It's the Advent Health Championship going on today, the Corn Ferry Tour. We've got Matt Lane coming up at 11 o'clock. Cody Goodwin, Power Mizzou. We'll talk some Mizzou football. Next week, we'll get into some K-State and KU as we get closer and closer to the beginning of the season. What's the latest with Ahmad Hardy? Are they going to do the Austin Simmons and Zollers? One guy plays the first half, and we've got a quarterback competition going on. Like, can we stop that sort of little charade that's happening with Eli the last, 10 years, it seems like, every year? Well, we don't know who our starter is. Yeah, you do. You know who the starter is. It's the guy that's going to start quarter number 1 in the first game of the season. And Mizzou with 4 players on the preseason All-SEC team, the most they've had in preseason in a while. one of those being a long snapper, but still, you got that going for you. Also, Ahmad Hardy is one of those guys that's on the preseason All-SEC team, and no idea when he's going to be able to play. Still not practicing at camp as you're looking at a couple weeks away from getting this thing rolling.
Even better, Jamal Roberts came back.
Yeah, that's true.
Huge.
Yep, absolutely. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back and continue rolling. You mentioned Juju, and I want to talk about that because I feel like, and maybe the conversation around him matches the discourse a year ago. I think it does, because I'm not hearing what I thought I would hear around Juju when he was released, certainly what I had been saying all offseason. We'll talk about that on the other side of the break. Again, Matt Lane, Cody Goodwin, Mick Schaefer. We'll talk some Royals today. I do believe they will never lose again. It's what the Royals do. They are on fire right now. They're scoring runs at an incredible clip. Vinny hits a home run last night. Of course, Jack leaves the game early with an ankle injury. Shocker, he's playing right field 3 games in a row, and now he's got an ankle injury. We'll take a
running to first.
But do you think maybe he was tired from all the running in the outfield or something like that?
Gosh.
Like the adding up, the cumulative.
Why are you acting like it's Prince Fielder playing the outfield? Like, what are we doing?
Is it maybe the cumulative part of the joints and everything? We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, and we will continue rolling, hanging out on Sports Radio 810 WHB. All right, men, if you're out there and suffering from erectile dysfunction, Heartland Men's Health is here for you. They have treatments with success rates well over 90%. They have pills and herbals out there that anybody could probably go and buy and take, but those are typically sort of tailored to or looking at kind of a one-size-fits-all type thing that, hey, most men suffer from this, and that may not be what's going on with you. And that's what Heartland Men's Health will do, is they have the treatments that will be unique to you and your issue, because it is an issue that can be caused by many different underlying conditions. And that's the thing, is you got to go and get that figured out. Heartland Men's Health has been successfully treating men in the Kansas City area. Simply schedule a consult with Heartland Men's Health today. Your initial visit, it's $99, but that includes the medical consult with a licensed medical provider, a T and PSA test, and if medically advised, you get a test dose. And if the test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit, it's free. If it does, there you go. They've got an expert staff with 3 locations to serve you: Overland Park, Independence, between Blue Springs and Lee Summit, and North Kansas City. Call them today at 844-447-6600. Tell them you heard about it right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, 844-447-6600, or visit heartlandmenshealth.com. I mean, just take the putt. You know what I mean? Right, Sterling? Just hit the putt, man. All right, there he goes in. It's in. It's in the hole. It's in the hole. Job. Well done. Well done. He made the putt, and we're back. Right, Michael? We're back? We good?
I was being whispered to by Jason, and it was a nice treat.
Said Sterling, hey, guy. Said Sterling, we're back on.
Yeah.
Because I was standing up, and I'm like, okay, so I tried to time it out to where the fellas on the green, would be, using their putters while we were at break. And we come back from break, and there's one guy that's just, man, he just won't take the shot. He just keeps reading it again.
Take the shot.
Yeah, get the shot. Pulp Fiction, thank you. Nice pull. Do I just stab it like this in like a stabbing motion? Not 3 times. You don't have to stab it 3 times. Just one time. You got to puncture the chest cavity. Get the shot. And I'm like, okay, we're back. The music's playing. I'm like, well, I mean, he's over the ball. Then he stopped. And I'm like, all right. So I'm coming back, and I'm just going to whisper. I'm just going to be whispering sweet nothings into Sterling's ear.
We could do the whisper song. Hey, how you doing, little mama? Let me whisper in your ear.
Don't ever do that again.
But don't do the rest of the song because it gets real dirty real quick.
Yes.
Yin Yang Twins, shockingly, were not the most...
I said this with my learned after we got back from Disney, in that the Seven Dwarves Mine Train ride, I can never be in line for that without hearing the Yin Yang Twins.
Yeah.
Instead of Whistle While You Work, which is the song that plays the entire time you're in line at Disney for the Seven Dwarves Mine Train roller coaster, I would hear the remixed version of the Yin Yang Twins.
Whistle While You Twerk.
That's right. Yes, that's what most people were going with, Sterling. Thank you.
Well, I just want to make sure for those that didn't know.
Yes, absolutely. Let's talk about Juju. And this morning, Adam Kaplan, on with the New Day, said that, when talking about Cyrus Allen and talking about, what has been the takeaway. And by the way, I loved hearing Soren's commentary yesterday, which all it did was get me more excited about Cyrus Allen. I'm kind of pissed at him about that because he's just setting me up for disappointment. If anybody missed it, you can listen to the podcast after this show's over. But the first segment, he said he went up to St. Joe yesterday and almost looking for a reason to doubt Cyrus Allen, like looking for the deficiencies so that we can stop the hype train. And he said, I left even more impressed than what I went up with in expectations, which is a different way of saying, I'm just going to look for anything positive because I'm so excited I'm going to ignore the negative. No, I'm going to look specifically for the bad things to say, okay, here's an issue. Here's why this may not. But no, the release package, the route running, the ability to get open in one-on-ones, all of those things stood out. So the Cyrus Allen part of it, whether people like the process or not of, hey, are you relying on this 5th rounder to be a higher volume player? I don't think the Chiefs went into the offseason saying we're relying on somebody we're going to draft in the 5th round to be a high volume guy. They even talked about that if Mansour Delane wasn't there, Jordan Tyson, and then trading back up for a cornerback in the 1st round. Well, people complain about Mansour Delane all they want, but they're not dealing with a 2-month soft tissue injury for Jordan Tyson right now as a wide receiver.
Correct.
And no cornerback. Or a cornerback, but late in the 1st round. Now, maybe a 3rd rounder that you didn't have to give up, all of that stuff. You get back into the minutia of the whole thing. But what I wanted to bring up was, Adam Kaplan saying with the wide receiver group that they're going to have to go out and sign a veteran. Have to. They have to go out and sign a veteran. I don't think they have to go out and sign a veteran. What people are running into is we feel so much worse about the wide receiver group right now than we did a year ago. Because we saw it a year ago. But without Rashee Rice at times, Xavier Worthy being injured, Hollywood Brown being a guy that was Hollywood Brown, just sort of a generic guy. Tyquan Thornton stepped up and looked good until he didn't get playing time, I should say.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, until he was taken on him.
Yeah, until he was taken out of the rotation for some reason, and you didn't see Jalen Royal stepping up and playing better. And so, Juju signs with somebody else, signs with the New York Giants, and I joked about, well, I'm not going to say that Juju's off the team until you open up the season and Juju's on a different team. Well, he's not on a team right now. But I bring it up because I know if people are saying you sign a veteran, I don't know that I need the Chiefs to go out and sign a veteran if Keenan Allen signs somewhere. I wasn't a big fan of the Stephon Diggs signing because I don't know that I wanted Stephon Diggs around the locker room. Is he a good receiver? Yeah, but you can't separate the two. You get both. You get Rashee Rice in the off the field stuff, and you get Rashee Rice what he can do on the field. You get both of those things. And so, do you want that with Stephon Diggs as well? I didn't, but I find it interesting, and this is not like I don't know that it's the commentary from fans, but the thought of you have to go out and sign a veteran when what the complaint was last year was why aren't they playing some of their younger guys?
Sure.
Like it's time to see some of the younger guys. Why wouldn't they play Tyquan Thornton more? Younger guy or not, but why wouldn't they see him out there and play him? Why wouldn't they play Jalen Royals? Have those guys get opportunities. And now you're in a position to where it's 3 guys that have been around, 3 guys that have played in the NFL. Xavier Worthy going into year 3, Tyquan going into year 4, Rashee Rice or 5 for Tyquan because he was in the Sky Moore draft. Rashee Rice going into year 4, so you've got 3, 4, and 5 years going into an experience for your top 3 guys, and then you've got a 5th rounder in Cyrus Allen and a 4th rounder. You bring in a veteran. Whose reps is he taking? Is he taking Jalen Royals? Is he taking Cyrus Allen? Now, if somebody were to get hurt, then I can understand. Hey, you go and sign a veteran. But what's the veteran playing right now? Whose reps is the veteran taking? Because is he going to take Tyquan Thornton's reps? Well, everybody was bitching about Tyquan Thornton not playing more last year. Is he going to take Cyrus Allen's reps? Oh, you better not. Not with the excitement around Cyrus Allen this year. That's that would be blasphemous if you brought somebody in to take the reps away from Cyrus Allen. Is he taking the reps away from Rashee Rice? Well, Rashee Rice is viewed as a really good number 2 receiver in the NFL. He taking those reps? Is he taking the reps away from Xavier Worthy, who they say last year was completely different because of the shoulder injury?
Yeah.
Whose reps is this veteran that you've got to go out and sign a veteran wide receiver? Doesn't mean that the offseason process leading into this year was correct, but it doesn't matter that Cyrus Allen was a 5th rounder because I think if you want to take a shot at the Chiefs and Brett Veach and the front office and the strategy behind the wide receiver, you can go, really? They're hoping a 5th rounder will do that? It'd be different if that 5th rounder looked like Jalen Royals, but the 5th rounder doesn't look like a 5th rounder.
No.
So maybe you don't need to go inside a veteran if Cyrus Allen looks like this. Maybe they were, and then Cyrus Allen looked like this, and they thought, let's hold up.
Yeah.
Let's maybe not go sign somebody.
For me, the only reason you would sign a veteran is if it was a game-changing wide receiver. Juju Smith-Schuster does you no good.
No.
I think at this point he'd be taking snaps away from Jalen Royals, and that's it. I think if Juju came back, that's literally what you're looking at. You're probably moving on from Royals just to have Juju for one more year, and I don't see the Chiefs doing that. That's the way I view that personally, because you're not taking snaps away from Rice or Worthy.
No.
You're either taking it away from Tyquan or Cyrus, which I think at this point, most people, myself included, want to see those 2 guys.
Yes. I want to see more from Tyquan. I want to see Cyrus out there.
So you would be looking at a wide receiver 5.
Yeah.
And at this point, even if guys, are we sure Juju at this point is better than Andrew Armstrong? I think
I'd rather see Andrew Armstrong
but
than
I'd rather
Juju.
see Andrew. I think they provide something different, a different flavor.
But I'd rather take my chances on a young guy like Armstrong than I know what Juju is. I know what he is. He's going to be, an older guy. He's going to be a guy that's, bigger. That's his sort of profile as a wide receiver. I want to see Andrew Armstrong. I'd rather see Brownlee, or anybody else. I don't want to see you got to bring in a veteran for the sake of you have to bring in a veteran.
Yeah.
I guess it's one thing to say, well, there's lacking in the wide receiver room. Okay, fine. Stephon Diggs signed, Keenan Allen signed. It's another thing to say you have to bring in a veteran just for the sake of you have to bring in a veteran. No matter what. It doesn't matter who it is, bring in a veteran. Because, again, what's the role of that guy? You're not bringing in, Nico Collins. You're not bringing in Cortland Sutton. You're not bringing in a veteran that's going to do those things for your team. So I don't think they need specifically you have to go and sign a veteran wide receiver. You can have complaints about the wide receiver room without then saying anybody will be better at this point, because I don't think that's the case with who's out there. And certainly I don't need to see Juju. I want to see the younger guys play.
You're literally bringing in the Emmanuel Ogbah of wide receivers at this point.
It's Juju Smith-Ogba.
Sure, if a guy goes down and you need to bring in a guy,
yes,
fine.
If you get there.
But just to keep on your roster, it's erroneous.
If you're talking about the fifth wide receiver, do you want to see Juju Smith-Schuster as the fifth wide receiver, or do you want to see Andrew Armstrong, or do you want to see Brownlee, or do you want to see Holiday or De Jesus? Like, who do you want to see out there playing that particular role? We'll take a timeout, come back. More Zone next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, hanging out at the Korn Ferry Tours Advent Health Championship at Blue Hills today. Round one of the Korn Ferry Tour. It's on the Golf Channel, too, this week, so that's pretty cool. Last tournament heading into the playoff. And, they move it from, May, the last number of years, into this spot now. We've been out here when it's been with for the kids around this time, but it's during the fall because I know that we're typically talking Chiefs games when we're out here. Typically that's on a Monday, and so I just remember when we're having conversations here and talking Chiefs, it's breaking down whatever happened in the game before that. But here we're talking about what's going on in preseason game number 2 coming up on Saturday in Tampa. But a quick practice today for the Kansas City Chiefs, and they then leave for Tampa to take on the Bucs on Saturday. We won't see Patrick Mahomes, the quarterback's, a quarter and a half, whatever it might be. We'll see. All we need to see is Justin Fields and Garrett Nussmeier.
Oh my gosh.
What?
There's a dude who's getting ready to tee off on this hole.
Uh-huh.
Andrew Kozan.
Oh, the Coz.
Through 8 holes. He is 7 under.
The Coz man.
He went birdie, 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 eagle, par, birdie, par, birdie. He is 7 under through 8 holes.
Kozer. The Kozer, man.
I got to root for this guy. That's insane.
Kozer's killing it, man. Is this the guy that's on the green here next to the cup, probably?
Probably one of them.
I mean.
Andrew Kozan. I'm rooting for this guy.
Yeah. Good for you. That's awesome. You want to get him on the show? As he walks by, do a quick little walker with him, a little walk and talk.
The Coz man.
Quick little walk and talk with him. We'll talk with Matt Lane coming up at 11 o'clock. See what he learned from preseason game number 1 and what he wants to see in preseason game number 2, and what the impact of Ashton Gillotte being out could be for this team. How much that then puts pressure on R. Mason Thomas. How much it puts pressure on maybe FAU. Emmanuel Agba. One of the things that we were going to talk about yesterday, and somebody that I think we should probably pay a little bit more attention to of being on the roster, the number 1 gunners with special teams, and it's not typically something that you talk about or care much about other than when Cyrus Allen got injured as being a gunner on special teams, but running with the first team gunner yesterday on special teams was Melvin Smith. Starting on Saturday last week was Melvin Smith at cornerback. So you've got him that's running with the ones at times in practice, and he's now running with the ones as gunner. I mean, if we're talking about somebody not, and we talked about Christian Fulton maybe not making the team, or being traded or something like that. Cater Kohu even, yeah. But Melvin Smith getting a lot of run on Saturday, and running with the ones, and then running as the first team gunner in special teams. They like him. I mean, obviously, it feels a little bit like your guy a few years ago in Christian Roland Wallace, when it was like he keeps running with the ones and twos, and he's on special teams, and they're using him more and more. Like, okay, there might be something here with this guy. Melvin Smith, I didn't have on my roster. I didn't even have on in contention because it felt like there were so many other choices at cornerback, but him getting the playing time like he is and running with special teams, he might be the guy that's first up after Mansour Delane and Noel Williams, and maybe after L'Jarius Sneed, because you've got him and Noel Williams on the outside starting at cornerback without Delane and L'Jarius Sneed playing.
What's interesting about Melvin Smith Jr., too, is he's a guy who is a special teamer, obviously, as you mentioned, but can be a returner. He was a kick returner in college. He had a 99-yard touchdown as a returner in college in 24. I wonder if that's a way where because with Cyrus Allen, I think at this point he might play too much in your wide receiver role. You need a special teamer somewhere. Yep. Could he be with 2 kickoff guys? Could it be Brashard Smith and Melvin Smith, the Smiths back there, and then you don't have maybe Nico on your roster? I mean, right. You're looking at how do you find your best configuration, and Melvin Smith might provide you something as a cornerback and as a returner, which then Nico's just a returner. Can you find a way to make that your kickoff squad? Yeah.
Some claps for something, I'm not sure. I didn't see a ball go in the hole or anything like that, so I don't know. Is that good? Is he just picking it up? Oh, he's just marking it.
I didn't tell you that. I did that once. I did it on over the weekend. We did club championship. I did do that on a hole.
Picked it up?
Well, I had a birdie putt, and I had to give myself I went from birdie to I doubled because I'm an honest man, because I went to scrape it. Because it was like 3 inches away because I missed the birdie putt, and so I missed the birdie putt. And I went to hit it back to me. I go,
oh my God! And so then you played it out?
No, then I had to give myself a 2-stroke. So I gave myself double 2-stroke penalty.
Wow, dude.
honest man myself. It was like 2 inches away. I was mad because I missed the birdie putt. I lipped it out, so I went from birdie to double on one hole.
Wow.
That's golf, baby.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's see what this guy's got in him. All right. What's this, about 6 feet? I'll breaker right to left.
I thought 8 to 10.
8
Oh,
8
he
10.
lipped it.
8 10.
8 to 10.
Pulled it left.
Yeah, I kind of lipped over the edge.
Short and to the left. Sterling, you're familiar with that. So he misses that one. Taps in. He didn't just pick up his. He didn't just scrape it. He actually putted all the way in. Yeah, he finished all the way in. He didn't cheat. Try to cheat like you.
I didn't. Who gave myself the penalty?
I still tried to cheat.
I didn't try to.
It's because you got caught, kind of like the guy with the hole in one.
My teammates actually said, "Hey, you're fine." Well, I go, "No, I'm an honest man. Give me the strokes." I don't like how they said that. I don't.
Well,
you
did.
I don't like that.
You did say that.
That was said over.
Yep.
Give it to him.
Yes.
Last time we were here, I did the Omar Norman Lot thing. Instead of O, I did a different letter.
Yeah, you did. You did
O and L.
You did like Amar.
Yeah.
Norman Lot.
Yeah, that was here. So I say some bad things.
That was here, wasn't it?
Yeah, I say some dumb things at Blue Hills.
Nice. I mean, how many people got left on this green, man? Why don't you guys talk a little bit longer here? Is this the coz?
This is the coz, man.
This guy cozying up to the hole. Is that what this guy's doing? Huh?
I don't know if it's the coz, man.
I don't know, man. I mean, they should be done putting by now. Let's be honest here. They should be done here putting. Let's see if got a couple more. I mean, oh man, we're gonna talk with Matt Lane. Okay, we're gonna discuss some football with him. We're gonna let him scream and yell as loud as he wants, while I whisper to him. Apparently,
yeah.
So that guy make it?
No, he
lipped out.
He lipped it. A lot of lips in this hole.
Yeah.
If you're fishing, it's great. You got a lot of
lips.
lips.
That's a good point. Yeah.
But we're not fishing.
Nope. Not at all. 1 hour down, Sterling. 1 hour down.
I love this every time because I live it on a golf course, but it's also tough when you have to be really quiet.
Yeah.
And if there's one thing about me, I'm known as a quiet guy.
Well, you know that I'm not. There we go. Is that it? Nope, one more.
I'm glad we'll go to break when they're off the green.
This is the slowest group ever. Won't you guys take a little more time? Huh? Oh, man. Which one is Coz?
I need the Coz,
Which one is the Coz, man?
Just trying to find him.
I'm not sure.
7 under through 8 holes is absurd, though.
This fella goes by the name of Duncan. Hello, Duncan.
Tim.
Hey, Duncan, in it?
Do you think it's related to Tim?
Nope. Related to Matt Lane.
Matt Lane of KCSN is brought to you by Dick Ray Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Are you planning to spend money on a new AC or furnace repair this year? Dick Ray can help. Show us a 2025 HVAC repair invoice from any company, and we'll credit that amount towards a new system up to $2,500. Call 913-DICK-RAY or go to dickray.com for details.
I will continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. We are hanging out at Blue Hills. It is the Advent Health Championship Corn Ferry Tour, last event before heading off into the playoff. We've been talking a lot of Chiefs in the first hour. We had planned on maybe talking some Royals because they can't be beaten currently, but we changed that with the news with Ashton Gelati, and unknown as to how long he will be out. We'll find out as the preseason progresses. Right now, let's talk some Chiefs. Matt Lane, KCSN, KC Laboratory Podcast, joining us here in the zone on this Thursday. Matt, welcome into the show. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. We are fully in stride of football season. We have kicked off. We are, almost a week into it now. Like, it's time. It's time. This ball is rolling. College football is right around the corner. Like, it is my time of the year to get excited, and we are here. It has never come at a better time.
Love it, love it. Yes, we got game number 2 coming up this weekend for the Chiefs. A number of games coming up tonight in the NFL, tomorrow as well. Let's go back to last Saturday, Matt, and what some of your takeaways were from that game and what you saw. Was there anything that stood out to you that you liked in the game against the Rams?
Yeah, it's weird because I thought, generally speaking, the offense looked good besides in the second team offensive line, but like every other part of it looked pretty good, and yet the Chiefs didn't score a touchdown. And so it's just kind of weird to come out of that game where the offense didn't really put up a lot of points, but like you saw things that you were excited about from Cyrus Allen, from Andrew Armstrong. Emmett Johnson looked great out of the backfield. Brashard Smith looked better. So like you got all these pieces that looked good. All the guys that you wanted to see look good on offense did, and just they were unable to put up points. A big part of that was, I believe it was 10, 11 penalties called on the offense. A lot of those on the offensive line, which derailed drives, which is something we did see a lot last year. So I guess I came away pretty impressed with some of the young players on offense. And the only other thing that really stuck out to me was Emmett Johnson played great. I thought Brashard Smith played really good. And I think that's the Eric Bieniemy and DeMarco Murray aspect, is both those running backs in the past had a little bit more, I would say, indecision to their running styles. They would try to bounce stuff outside. They would not necessarily be a little impatient and try to find open space. I thought they were both really decisive in their runs. They did a good job kind of following the path of the play. And I just think that is the running back coach and Eric Bieniemy's kind of, before, he was gone for a little bit, his teaching and stuff like that, when you compare that to how the Bears were running last year versus how the Chiefs running backs run. So I felt good about the running backs, and all the young offensive players just wish they could have put up a little bit more points.
The running back I want to get into and talk about, but maybe I'm making too much of this, but I wanted to get your thoughts on it. That a couple of days ago we heard Eric Bieniemy talking about Kenneth Walker and saying, he wants to learn, he wants to be coached, but he always thinks he's right. He can be argumentative, and he then got back into but he wants to be right. He wants to know what he's doing. And then we heard yesterday from DeMarco Murray sort of adding to that DeMarco said, Kenneth Walker, and he's like, and I'll get a text that says, you know what, after watching film, coach, you were right. Which I think is interesting, because now I can picture Kenneth Walker being argumentative with DeMarco Murray or other coaches, and then watching the film and going, okay, you were right. Because what that would say is, at the time, I didn't think you were right, and now I saw it on film, and you were right. We also heard DeMarco Murray say that with Kenneth Walker, what he's been most impressed with of the group is Kenneth Walker's in pass pro and pass receiving and how willing he is. And he said he really had no knowledge of it when he got here. And I think all of that combined is really interesting, because, Matt, when people talked about Kenneth Walker in the passing game, it almost came off as he can't catch. He doesn't really run routes. But now it feels like the Seahawks, maybe he wasn't in the passing game because the Seahawks were like, we're not even worrying about pass pro. He's got no knowledge. Maybe he doesn't really want to be pushed to be a pass protector. we've got other options here, so we're good. But now that he's in Kansas City, wants to be a bell cow, maybe taking it a little more seriously so he can be a part of the overall passing game, as opposed to you're in the game and it's a pass, so therefore you can get like a screen pass or something. No, if you want to be in the game, you got to pass protect as well. What do you make of all that? I'm sort of piecing things together with our unknown of Kenneth Walker as sort of a player, competitor, how he's coached, and what he looks like throughout the season.
Let's go. Let's start with, I think, the coaching aspect. And I think that makes sense, just looking at who he is as a player type, right? And Kenneth Walker, kind of like Emmett Johnson or Brashard Smith last year, he's a guy that wasn't necessarily, you wouldn't say follows the path or the play call on a whiteboard, right? Like, he's a guy that looks for big plays. He's kind of a big play hunter at running back. And so I could see from a player of that style, if you're getting coaching on the sideline and being said, hey, we think you should have gone to the B gap where we were blocking, but you said, no, I saw space outside, and you thought you were right, coach thought they were right, and then when he goes back and watches it saying, okay, you know what, you were right, coach. Like, that whole process makes a ton of sense for his run style, from where sometimes I do think he leaves some stuff on the field, but you take that because he also creates such crazy big plays, and he's one of the most dynamic runners. So that story made a lot of sense when I kind of heard that from Bieniemy to Murray, and just hearing how Kenneth Walker took it. I've heard nothing but good things about how he's taken to the hard coaching of both EB and Murray. So I don't think it's any cause for concern, and it just made a lot of sense. The receiving thing is more interesting to me because I was looking back, even in college, he wasn't much of a receiver. Now, colleges are hit or miss, right? The offense dictates, like the offensive scheme dictates even more in college what's going to happen. But he only had 19 career receptions in college. Seattle pretty much use anybody else they could on passing downs over Kenneth Walker. Yeah, he caught some check downs or some screens, but really, if it was a passing down, they went with Zach Charbonnet or even brought in Travis Homer. Like, they brought in other guys almost every single year to do the pass down work. But since the Chiefs have got him into their practices, into camp, whether that's mini camp, training camp, they've done nothing but praise his route running, his hands, his ability as a receiver. So maybe there is a little bit of hidden skill there that we haven't really seen in college or with the Seahawks, and he is going to be somebody that truly is a three-down back. And if he's taking pass protection seriously now, understanding that's the gap maybe between him and Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan Robinson and Christian McCaffrey at the tippity top of the running back market and like talent pool, if he's understanding that's the gap, that's huge for the Chiefs this year, because that is a part of his game that has been missing, is that passing down work.
Yeah, I thought it stood out when DeMarco Murray said he had no knowledge of it. Like, I wonder what Kenneth Walker would say to that if he heard him say, I don't know. He was like, yeah, I know, I did, but now I'm really attacking it. We're visiting with Matt Lane. We did this exercise, I think it was yesterday on the show. I can't remember, yesterday or the day before. And we took last year's running back room, Matt, and this year's running back room, and we did a draft as to who are you taking first, second, third, fourth. And really it was just an exercise to see how those guys stack up as, how many players you would get to from this group before you got to what was going last year. So if you're just thinking of, and I'm going to say in no particular order, but if you had, Pacheco and Hunt and now, DeMarcado and Walker and Emmett Johnson and Brashard Smith, how would you rank those guys if you took the entire group and say, this is who I want as my running back one this year, and then that guy's off the board, who would you take next, and so on and so forth? How would you rank those guys, just as an idea of how many guys we get to this year versus what last year's looked like?
Yeah, I think it's pretty easy that Kenneth Walker's a clear-cut number one. So you start with him, and then now my mind splits into two different directions. And I think it was good clarifying that you said, hey, this is your running back one. I think for this year, for one single year right now, I think I would still take Kareem Hunt as my running back one over Emmett Johnson, but it's really close. But it's just the reliability. I know what I'm going to get. I know Kareem Hunt's not going to cause any issues on third down. He's not going to get me any big plays, but he's going to do what I ask. He's not going to cause any major negative plays. Emmett Johnson, as a rookie, I want to see a little bit more before I give him the nod over Kareem Hunt. But Emmett Johnson is third. After three, I don't know. It becomes flipping a coin. I think that Pacheco's history says that he's got to be up there, but he's been one of the worst pass protector, one of the worst receiving backs in the NFL. So maybe I go DeMarcado over him, and then you end it with some version of Brashard Smith and Pacheco in whichever order. I don't feel great about either of those. So we got Kenneth Walker, Kareem Hunt by a nose hair over Emmett Johnson, then Emmett Johnson, then DeMarcado, and we'll round it out with Pacheco and Brashard Smith.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the reason I did that is because it's like, okay, we look at last year's running back room, and I know there's been some commentary of like, hey, you know what, the best running back in the room last year would have been, you know, the top 3 or maybe 4 this year. Maybe Brashard Smith, coached by Bieniemy, and DeMarco Murray would be the best running back on the Chiefs last year. Kenneth Walker would be the clear-cut number 1. Maybe Emmett Johnson, you know, if you're saying, you know, on coached by Bieniemy and DeMarco Murray would be, you know, the best running back on last year's Chiefs team. Just as a sort of an exercise to look at how different this running back room is and maybe how balanced the running back room is outside of, I don't know who they're going to give the ball to on the 4th and 1s, the 3rd and shorts like they did with Kareem Hunt. He was so successful. We'll have to figure that out, but I think it comes off as a pretty balanced running back room to take advantage of different guys' skill sets with the 4 they have right now.
For sure. And, like, the upside for all the guys this year is substantially higher than anybody last year. It's like, I think that's the angle that I think a lot of people approach it from, saying, like, hey, the Chiefs' top 3 running backs this year are better than anyone they had last year. It's, you can see by week 14 saying, oh, Emmett Johnson would have been the best player, the running back they had last year. Oh, DeMarcado or Brashard Smith in his second year is better than anyone they had last year. So this year's so much more dynamic, and the upside certainly there. But yeah, I do think there was some steadiness from last year. And I guess the only question, you alluded to it, with this running back room is who is taking the carries on 3rd and 1, on 4th and 1, because that has been something the Chiefs have tried to run the ball in those scenarios, and we'll have to see who it is. I have a little, like I was talking about earlier, I have a little bit of hope because I saw 2 running backs in Brashard Smith and Emmett Johnson who I wouldn't say are downhill, we're going to just kind of slam into the line of scrimmage where there's just a tiny bit of daylight. They were doing that a little bit in that first preseason game, so I do wonder if that's a coaching thing that they were able to get that instilled into their heads during training camp. And if that's the case, I feel pretty good about Kenneth Walker on 3rd and 4th, you know, 3rd and short, 4th and short, if you can convince him to, hey, this is where we're running, this is the hole we're blocking for, we need 1 yard, not 60, just hit this hole on this play. If they can get everybody to do that, I have a little bit less concerns with their short yard situation than I might have a couple months ago when just looking at all the players, you know, in a vacuum and how they typically do run the ball.
Matt Lane is our guest, KCSN, KC Laboratory Podcast. Ashton Gelati, the news came out today. Andy Reid talking about a rupture of the plantar fascia. I don't know what the timetable will be for him to return. I'd have to go back and look if the timing was they knew this was the case and they signed Emmanuel Ogbah as to have an extra body there, somebody that's a veteran and, you know, the whole knows the system thing. What's your reaction to if the Chiefs don't have Gelati for a little bit of time? What does that do for their defense? What does that do for maybe what Spags was thinking? What does that do for the defensive end position on this team?
It's a confusing injury to try to deal with because it's not as if I think Ashton Gelati, and this is no, you know, slight to him as a player, he's just a second year, you know, middle round defensive end taken on day 2. We don't know what his growth is going to look like, but he was primed to play a role. He was kind of supposed to step into a Mike Dana / Charles Omenihu role at the very least on early downs. He was going to be your early down defensive end across from George Karlaftis because whether we think so or not, Steve Spagnuolo cares about stopping the run. That is his number one goal as a defensive coordinator. And if we're going to see the entire NFL shift to more run-heavy approach, you got to stop the run. And so you were kind of relying on somebody across from Karlaftis to help set up 2nd and 3rd and long. So you can use our Mason Thomas. So you can use Peter Woods and Steve Spagnuolo's blitz packages however you want. Without Gelati, I don't know who that player is going to be. Yeah, they do bring in Emmanuel Ogbah, who obviously has the size and at one point of his career fit that role, but he's kind of slid back into a role player. He's been a little bit more of like the last year was a little bit more of a interior rusher. He kind of aligned a lot more as like a 4-eye or a 3-tech on pass down. So I don't know who is going to step in to that role that has been vacated by Mike Dana and Charles Omenihu as early down defensive ends. And I think Gelati was supposed to be the guy. So maybe he wasn't primed to be the biggest contributor on this defense, but he had a very clearly defined role that I don't know if they have somebody particularly ready to step into that spot right away. So it'll be fascinating to see how they go about that and if that is what Emmanuel Ogbah was brought in for. if they've seen a little bit more from Tyreek Smith than, we maybe thought going into the year, and he can fill in that role, or if they're just going to trust Felix and our Mason Thomas to do that, even though that's maybe not their best attributes as of this point of their NFL career.
Well, look, I think a lot of us can attribute to this. You get married, your body starts breaking down. I mean, Gelati spends the offseason, gets married, and now he's injured. I mean, it's just what happens. You know what the problem is, and this is the issue.
There's a lot of marriages this summer.
That's a good point. That's a little worrisome. It's just what happens sometimes. You get married, you get complacent, you let your body go. You just let yourself go, and you sort of get comfortable. And I just worry that's what Gelati did. He got married, and then just like, okay, I'm done. Matt Lane is our guest. You wrote about at KCSN Noel Williams and what you saw from him. Do you feel more confident from what we've seen from training camp and it's preseason game number 1? Do you feel confident that, if Delane is going to fill in that quote-unquote Trip McDuffie role, can Noel Williams slide in and fill in that Jalen Watson role? Do you feel more confident than maybe going to the offseason of what is expected of Noel Williams?
I think my confidence level is about the same, or I guess I should say my expectations are about the same of what we were hoping for, is that Noel Williams is going to take the step. We are going to take this limited sample size we saw last year and expand it to a full season now where he's a starter on the outside. I will say everything we've seen in training camp and that first preseason game, though, that just kind of bolsters my confidence that he gets there. I guess it's not so much that I think he's going to do more than what I already thought. It's just I'm more confident in his ability to do it because he's looked great. I mean, his ability as this kind of physical press corner up on the line of scrimmage to get his hands on receivers or tight ends and disrupt them during their routes and doing just enough to carry most routes vertically, holding on. He's not the fastest corner in the NFL, but if he can disrupt the route, he can stay in phase all the way. He's shown the ability to make a lot of plays on the football, whether breaking them up or coming down with interceptions. So, yeah, he's checking all the boxes from these kind of middle to late round cornerbacks that Steve Spagnuolo has had and Dave Merritt have had a ton of success with for the Chiefs. And it almost feels like he's on a little bit of an accelerated path for some of those other guys, which would make sense given, outside of Trent McDuffie, they did spend the highest draft capital on him, and then I got obviously Mansour Delane this year. So he's getting there, and I feel good about that. I feel more confident that this year he will be closer to Jalen Watson's play than I think Delane will be to McDuffie's this year. Not long term, but this particular season, I just think that Noel Williams is going to be right up there with Jalen Watson, and we may not feel a significant step back from what the Chiefs, cornerback 2 was providing throughout most of the last 2 years to this season.
Last one, I want to get your thoughts on what you want to see this weekend.
Well, Matt, I think he dropped, but what do you want to see this weekend from the Chiefs?
I think we might be back. Are you allowing yourself to get swept up in the Cyrus Allen excitement?
Oh, buddy, I'm not only swept up, I am flying through the tornado like a cow in a twister. Okay, we are fully on board with the Cyrus Allen hype. I don't know at this point in time how you could possibly not be fully bought in. Every single training camp is just a more impressive clip than the one before, and I think yesterday, so Wednesdays, was the final 2 nails in the coffin. We get the vertical route against Delane where he's tracking the ball downfield. Doesn't have the fastest 40 time on his pro day, but here he is outrunning a 4.39 corner, no problem, while tracking the football, makes a fantastic catch. And then a little bit later in practice, we see him run a slant against Noel Williams from the boundary, getting pressed at the line of scrimmage, gets off press, and then through his break handles contact that probably would be a holding or a DPI penalty and is still able to make the catch. There's not any other tests left other than the season starting, but at this point, I don't know what else I could possibly see before the season starts to make me feel better. So yeah, I am all the way in. I could not be more excited to watch him playing real football here in a little less than a month.
I love that description and breakdown. Swept up, you're the cow in the tornado and twister. That is awesome. So let's get into that. I mean, Michael just could not wait to get to this question. I'm joking. Thank you, Michael, for stepping in as we dropped for a second there. What are you looking for? Number 1. That would be...
Sorry, I was breaking up a little bit. I believe the question was, what are we looking for this week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? The big thing is, for me, I just want to see the offensive line be a little bit more consistent so that we can see some of these young offensive playmakers continue to showcase, right? I think that was what held them back in the first game, was the offensive line was so up and down without the starters. Now, we'll see how Simmons' injury, Trey Smith's injury play out for this. But I just want to see some of these young playmakers, and Andrew Armstrong, Jalen Royals getting more opportunities, Cyrus Allen, Emmett Johnson, and so on. I want to see the offensive line allow these guys to really make plays. I don't think the Chiefs are ever going to showcase players they're super excited about for the real regular season in the preseason, but you can get glimpses, and I do think that held them back in the first week. And then defensively, this is our first time to get eyes on Delane. I just want to see him look good. I don't want to see him have an up-and-down performance like Peter Woods without flashes. I just want it to be either calm and steady, or give me a couple really big flashes. Just, show me a little bit of something that makes me feel really excited. Not that we shouldn't be, or we should be worried. I just want to feel really excited about him now that we get to finally see him out there on the field.
Are you, last one, I know that I said that was the last one. I want a quick follow-up. Are you concerned about, I know that a lot of clips in practice have been like, oh, that's a holding. Well, that's pass interference. Are you worried or concerned about how sticky sometimes his play can be?
Concerned isn't the right word, but I do acknowledge that I think that he's playing a brand of football that worked in college that the NFL rulebook doesn't allow. He's very much heavy on the catch technique, where he's kind of staying not an off coverage, but like in between off and press, and he lets a receiver run into him or next to him and tries to keep hands on them there. And in college, that's allowed. The NFL, they're a lot quicker to call holding on that. So I think he has to learn when and where and how to use his hands to slow receivers down and not rely so much on that hand contact at 5, 6, 7 yards. So not worried about it, but I do think that he will have to adjust his style of game. And there's nothing about his footwork, his fluidity, his athleticism that says he can't. I think he actually understands football really well and has all the physical tools. I just do think that he will have to dial back, not the physicality, but just the way he goes about using his hands, a little bit downfield that we've seen so far.
I like how they put the mittens on him yesterday. I don't think you're allowed to play with those in the game, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. Matt, you're the man. Appreciate it as always, brother. Enjoy game number 2. We'll catch up in a couple of weeks. We're getting closer to the actual season. Thank you, brother.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the golf course.
Yes, we will do that. There is Matt Lane, KC Sports Network, KCSN, and looking for this weekend, defense and certainly Mansour Delane, but also the offensive line allowing some of the plays to be made. I thought, with the ones, Rashard Smith looked good. Emmett Johnson looked good. So with that offensive line out there, we'll see, what they will look like. But, Trey Smith or Josh Simmons not playing in the game. Is this a true indication of maybe what week number 1 with the Denver Broncos will look like? So we'll find out. Let's take a time out. We'll come back. We'll continue rolling more Zone right after this.
Want to see more of The Zone? Watch the show live on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. We came right back, Michael. They're on the green, all right? They're putting. Why couldn't you have seen ahead, Michael, and be like, hey, let's add like another minute or so? Way to go, Michael. I mean, it's unbelievable. You know,
I have beef with the golfers.
We're suffering through the beautiful weather and the light breeze, and we're in the shade, and we're on a golf course, and Sterling is in his element.
Yeah,
and we're suffering through that, Michael, and it's a little help. Just a little help, Michael, is all we need. It goes a long way. It really does. So.
I do blame Darcy. I feel like he has a camera set up out here. It's like when the Chiefs in the pressers, like the second you're going to break, like, wait, guys, 8-10's on break. Let's put Andy up there now.
Can we?
Can we do that? I feel like Darcy has a secret ring camera out here. So anytime someone's on the green, he goes,
flock
all right,
camera.
we're coming back from break. Yeah. Now we're coming back. Yeah.
What did you say? Did you say a flock?
It's a flock camera.
It hasn't been vandalized yet?
Not yet.
What does that mean? Do I not understand the reference?
Yeah, how do you not understand the reference? What have you been living under a rock?
A flock? Like a bird? Birds aren't real.
Michael, this isn't a bit.
This is his Abbott moment.
The flock cameras that people have been complaining about that are...
Like drones?
No, okay. So there are these cameras that are put up on different streets that can see your license and your car, your license plate and your car and everything that they can then track.
That seems a little dangerous. That seems a little 1984-ish, doesn't it?
1984-ish? That seems a little 2040-ish, where everything is being followed and tracked.
I meant the book. Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I don't know what's the 1984 book. I'm not sure.
Oh my gosh, this is your Abbott moment.
I don't think it's my Abbott moment.
You don't know what 1984 is? The book.
No, I saw the movie. It was better. Okay, we're talking about flock cameras, and how could you possibly not know what's going on with flock cameras right now?
No,
I am shocked by this.
So,
Michael, are you? This is an Abbott moment, I would have to imagine.
I don't know what
the only one that doesn't know
1984
what a
is,
flock camera.
but I know what a flock camera is.
Thank you, Michael.
Oh my gosh, read a
But we know what flock camera is. I bet more people know what a flock camera is right now than if you just said this is a 1984 thing. Like just what a random reference. This is like 1984. What the hell's going on in 1984?
I'm about to start going to people and saying, what do they know more of? 1984 or flock cameras?
1984 flock cameras. They would say flock cameras because I'm not sure what you're meaning when you just say 1984.
The book.
That's fine.
Everyone
but you
knows
eventually
about it.
got to the. No, everybody knows about flock cameras and what's
No one
going
knows
on right
about
now.
flock cameras.
No one really. Well,
Alex, what are these? Is that one in my house?
Yes, it is. That's one in your house. It's actually in your bedroom.
I don't think start charging.
You probably should. It's not there. You don't have any fans. It's not called OnlyFans. It's for you. It's no fans. Not any fans.
Damn.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, flock cameras that would be then following and tracking the information, and maybe they've been used in certain ways to maybe follow people or track. Anyway.
I mean, you know what Orwellian means, right? Like you've
Yes.
heard of Orwellian. Yeah, it's basically off of 1984. George Orwell.
Yeah. Okay. Great. That's cool. I know what a flock is, and it's an entire group of seagulls.
No, that's ravens.
Oh no, that's I was going to say a murder, but that's crows.
Yeah. Yeah. Learn ball.
Yeah. What is a group of ravens? Is it
a team without a ring?
That's right. Well, they've got a ring.
Well, I meant with Lamar. I meant the current iteration.
They got a ring.
You knew what I meant.
I didn't know what you meant.
You knew I meant the current iteration of Lamar.
I don't know what you meant. You didn't know what the flock cameras were. Vahe Gregorian has a piece today in the Kansas City Star in a conversation he had with Andy Reid yesterday in his dorm room. So it wasn't Andy Reid at the podium, but Andy Reid talking to Vahe saying, what are we going to do to fix this? This isn't happening again. And Andy Reid saying, I kind of knew what needed to be done. He writes here, even as he was keeping it so low-key along the way that you might have wondered if he was in denial about what took place last year offensively. And he said, I kind of knew what needed to be done. Now, we've seen them go out and get a running back, and we've seen them maybe run from under center more often. He doesn't want to talk about that. Steve Spagnuolo has said they're seeing more running plays this year than they have in the past. He talks about the criticism that's there, and he said, that's okay, I was in Philly, so I get it. But you're only as good as your next play, and it's important that we do well. I'm the biggest evaluator of it and critic of it, so I don't have to worry about others and how they feel. I analyze it and see it and stay up on it and see how it rolls. He talked about how things went awry and said the execution part of it I didn't think was at a high standard with what we had going on and what we expect. They need more explosive plays, he said. Bringing Eric Bieniemy back, yada, yada. And obviously with Patrick Mahomes, they feel good. There you go. So, it's the first, it feels like, I don't know, is this the first time Andy Reid has talked about, yeah, I knew something was wrong and there was an adjustment that had to be made? Besides people inferring it to him, besides Brett Veach saying it and Clark Hunt saying it and Steve Spagnuolo and bringing in Eric Bieniemy and sort of these small little peripheral things, as opposed to Andy Reid like, yeah, something had to be done. We needed to improve, and I knew it. I knew that something needed to be done. I kind of knew what needed to be done, because it's Andy Reid acknowledging that last year wasn't good enough. But it also goes into those that were saying Andy Reid's not an issue. It's not about Andy. Look what Andy Reid did. Andy Reid's offense got them all these Super Bowls. Andy Reid's this and Andy Reid's that. Andy Reid's the reason for Patrick Mahomes. And then you go into the offseason, and Andy Reid said, I knew what needed to be done.
Well,
not do it again this year, what you did last year.
Part of it was in the middle of the season. You can't change at that point. It's just too difficult to. Two, I think it also leads to the frustration that we heard from him bubble over in some pressers early on when they talked about running under center and all those things. I think he realizes, hey, I know. I get it. I was wrong last year, but what am I going to say right now in this presser that you were right and I was wrong? The whole Adam Sandler and Happy Gilmore thing, like go through the entire convo there? No, I mean, Andy's a smart guy. He's adjusted. He's changed. The thought of him just sticking with what he's always done, I think, has been unfounded because he has changed and had different iterations of his offensive philosophy, I think, many times in his career. I wasn't worried about that. And by the way, he has mentioned at times needing to do different things and change and evolve. It's not said this.
Fantastic. I don't necessarily disagree with the equipment stopping, but I was interested in hearing what you had to say, Sterling. I know the equipment said, nope, he's done, cut him off, but it kind of like, last night or different times you're at the bar, he's done, cut him off, no more. I was interested in what you had to say. So I disagree with the equipment. Alex is out here just sabotaging things. Michael's throwing it to break as soon as you start to talk. I think that's disrespectful, quite frankly. And I'm on your side on this one, Sterling.
Yeah,
finally.
I think I actually had good things to say.
It was amazing
that
point.
were important and smart, and I thought that it was huge for the show, but clearly not.
No, Big Flock shut us off there. That's what it was.
Big Flock.
Big Flock stepping in. And
they can flock off.
Yes, I agree with that. Yes. Thank you for that one. We were talking a little bit about Andy Reid there and his conversation with Vahe. Did you see the story that came out of training camp today as they were leaving? So, we always talk about what players bring to training camp, what they show up to the dorm room with. Like, I don't know if they're still rocking those egg crates like we did back in the day when you would show up to the dorm rooms with the terrible beds and things like that. They got to have a little bit of a different bed. It's a little souped up than maybe what it was back in the day when they first got to St. Joe or even at River Falls. But you see what Xavier Worthy did this morning. So they're packing everything up. And, leaving, Xavier Worthy brought out his PS5 that he had in the dorm room and gave it to a kid that was there, which is pretty awesome. I hope the kid didn't have a PS5 already. I hope, can you screen the kids and see if they do have a PS5? Like, hey, security, go ask random parents if their kids have a PS5, and then show me the group of parents that don't have one, okay? Because I don't want to gift a PS5 to a kid that's like, oh, now I can put it in the other room.
Now I can sell this on eBay. Xavier Worthy's PS5.
Now me and my brother can have one in our own rooms. This is amazing.
What if he didn't close it out and so it has his credit card information still on it, just charging games?
He's just buying all these the games. PlayStation store. He's got every game whatsoever. He buys a storage off-site so he can just download every game possible. And Worthy doesn't even notice it because he's got so much money. He has no idea that all these things are being bought on his credit card.
$69.99 charges on here.
I don't know what it is, but not a big deal. I mean, who knows? It could be for something else. Could be for a phone. I'll get around to asking my manager what this is for. And this kid's
when my card got stolen, I knew right away. I
dealing with that right now.
It's a real treat. It's one of those ones where it's different. When you're in different tax brackets, you find out when you're. That's how I think how much money you have. Is all based on how quickly do you find out when your card is stolen.
Yeah, I found out roughly 9:58. Right before we came on the air here. So,
treat.
Yeah, exactly. Some charges that showed up, and I'm like, this morning. And I'm like, well, that's not great. So let me deal with that while on the air with guys putting and the connection and things like that. So other than that, Sterling, it's been a dynamite Thursday.
How was the play, Mrs. Lincoln?
You know what? It was good. The second act wasn't as good. Third act sucked.
Yeah.
Third act, just everybody felt like they were distracted.
Yeah.
It didn't feel as smooth as the first two acts. Third act almost felt like it didn't even happen.
Yeah.
That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
So we're in the second act of this particular play. We've got 4 acts. Is there ever a 4-act play? Or are they all 3?
I don't know.
Are there 2 acts? Maybe just one sometimes?
Yeah.
One-man show?
I'm not a big play right. I was in a couple plays in middle school.
Were you?
Oh, yeah.
What'd you play, the tree?
No, I was the what was the
Cowardly Lion.
Dick Van Dyke, or who was the guy that did the fast-talking thing in it was like Bye Bye Birdie or something like that?
That would be Dick Van
1984
Dyke.
is what you think.
Yeah, that was me. I was Dick Van Dyke in Bye Bye Birdie.
Look at you, huh?
Yeah, shockingly, I know.
Yes, you typically played a Dick most of your life, so
Yeah,
that's
normally.
good. So it's right along with Dick Van Dyke. With what you
always.
would, anybody with the name of Richard, Dick Vermeil? You've probably played Dick Vermeil in a couple of.
No, but I've used
Dick
his
Enberg.
seats at a Chiefs game one time.
Have you played the role of Dick Enberg before?
No.
Nope. Okay, maybe one day.
No.
maybe one day you'll be able to do that. That'll be fun. Yeah, I did not know that you were in plays. How about that?
Yeah.
So you played the
Learned that about me today.
We are learning a lot about Sterling today, and Xavier Worthy giving away his PS5, leaving his dorm, and wrapping everything up with closing time as they play every year as the last practice wraps up and they huddle up and they play that song because training camp is officially over. And Patrick Mahomes, with 11, 12 months of his life have spent in 13 months of his life, I guess it would be, that's spent at St. Joe in training camp, over a year of his life that he's been there in St. Joe by hanging out at training camp, and everybody wrapping up. And that's been the tradition of closing time, playing, and practice is being done.
I love that Andy Reid still does training camp at St. Joe.
Yeah.
I love it's the dorm. I do think there's something. I know it's difficult. I know it's hard. I know all these things and how hot it can be, and the frustration that boils over at times. But I think it's so important, almost as a team building thought process as well. You're not going home every night and you only see your guys for a couple hours a day. You're not doing these joint practices where fights bubble over and fights happen all the time, it seems like. God. I love what Andy Reid does. I think the results obviously will probably do little rose-colored glasses for us, but I do think there is something impactful, almost having that college or high school style of team bonding that does happen, because I do think it matters. I know it's silly. I know it might sound very, again, high school or college, but it does matter, because a lot of these guys, if you're only there a year or two, this is the time you get to know your teammates. Who are you in the trenches with?
Yeah.
Who are you going to go fight for? You're going to fight for a guy harder when you know their family, their kids, their life story, who they are off the field, or a guy that you see every, a few hours a day at mealtime and say, hey, man, you want to play PS5? Or, these are the things that I think make great teams, or good teams great, and great teams championship teams.
Yeah. And you know what? Hopefully that's the case. And that'll be this particular year. But yeah, I mean, if they continue there at St. Joe in training camp or not, or wherever they're going to be, I don't know. Do they stay at their own house? Do they stay in like hotels or something like that? If it's going to be near the practice facility, I would guess that if it's Andy Reid, he'd probably want them there together. He'd probably want them as a group, like you talked about, to be around each other all day long and get to know those particular guys. So, you never know what is going to happen in the future, but they're going to have that ability there at the new practice facility to be able to have training camp there, which we know they'll have training camp there. Yeah. He said it's going to be up to whoever the coach is. Well, if the coach is Andy Reid, I think they'll probably still have training camp there. The facilities are going to be created for that. And so we'll see. But that was a pretty awesome story. Saw that this morning from Xavier Worthy handing out the PS5. It would have sucked if somebody would have given like dirty laundry or something. Yeah. There you go. Or I mentioned the egg crates that you would take to college. Here, I've got this. If you want it,
just steal free. You can have them.
Instead of throwing stuff out, like some players are like, I'm going to throw these this sweatband away or this, and all the kids are like, I want that. Can you throw me that? Here you go. All right, there's a broken controller that I threw against the wall. You can have that if you want as a little souvenir.
Here's
for
a
you.
Mini fridge that's dripping. The cooler, it doesn't really work very well in it, but you can have it if you want.
Would be awesome, just hand it up. What if they did have some, it's like an estate sale, only it's like first come, first serve. Just leave everything out that the players don't want to take back home with them, and then fans that are up there on the last day, which would be Military Appreciation Day, you can sort of just rummage through everything and pick out what you want,
Here's 3 half-drink Cutwaters and 3 half-drink beers.
It's from Creed Humphrey's room.
Creed Humphrey's room.
We know where it would be. From Creed's room. This one's got a hole in it on the side. Did he shotgun this thing?
Do you think it was like college where they have the mattress on the floor? Like you don't even have it like in not even a bed frame, just on the floor.
Who's in the pull-out couch? There's like
it's a Murphy bed situation.
Yeah, the UDFA, the guy that is just brought into camp late. You just signed him, like the new tackle that they just signed. He's got to stay on somebody's pull-out couch. I know we got room here. Dude, I'm 6'5". That's fine. Your legs can hang over the end. We'll bring the ottoman over and help you out.
Yeah, do you think they're just laying on not like the old school fraternity couches that are nasty? They've been outside at one point. They left in the rain, and they're like, well, It's still a couch. It's still good. It'll dry.
We can create a pallet for you. We've got some extra blankets and stuff. It's hot up here anyway, so we'll just lay some blankets there on the floor, and you can do that. And then here we can give these blankets away to these kids because we don't want to take them home.
Don't flip that was always the best when the fraternity couch became the outdoor couches at some point. There's always
I don't think we had an outdoor couch.
That line of demarcation. We'll just don't flip the cushions over.
I think we did have at some point as a prank, one of the guys' beds got put on the roof.
Oh, good.
I'm not sure if it rained that particular night or not, but the couch, I don't know how they got it up there, but the couch definitely ended up on the roof.
Okay, so
one time.
Who do you think that could have been? Like, I don't think you're messing with Kairos Tonga, for example. I don't think anyone's messing with Tonga.
No, it's got to be one of the new guys, though, right? Because that's
like a
who
Khalil Benson situation.
Yeah, could be a Khalil. Although he's a big dude, man, he may not take it. I don't know, but it's got to be like
Cyrus
UDFA.
Allen, probably. Oh, UDFA would be a good one.
It's got to be. I would think, right? Like a draft pick. Like, I don't care. I'll just go buy another one. I'm getting paid a little bit. A UDFA brought in. The Khalil Benson one would be interesting, but now he's like starting. So I don't know. Niagara.
Xavier Wampa, maybe?
Could be Wampa. Yeah, could be him. You got to be kind of a nice guy. I'm like, oh, shucks, guys.
Yeah.
Maybe got that, maybe some country to you. Like, oh, guys, come on now. It's these fellas keep playing with me. Some good old boys just messing with me there. No big deal. I'm not sure who that would be. Would be Drew Tranquil?
Yeah,
I think he might be. He might be nice enough to be like, you know what, guys, come on. Enough with the mattress prank.
Yeah,
again,
Nick Bolton also seems really nice, but you can't mess with the leader of the defense.
No, I'm not messing with Nick Bolton. I'm not messing with him. Tonga, not messing with Chris Jones because he'll get after you. Karlaftis maybe. Karlaftis might be an all shucks guy.
Yeah, I can see Karlaftis.
I'm a pacifist. I don't know that I really need to. Guys, just stop. Coach, Joe, Coach Colin, can you tell these guys to stop putting my mattress on the roof, please? All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, heading up until 2 o'clock. We'll hang out with Mick Schaefer today in the 1 o'clock hour, actually. No Mick yesterday. Not going to be here tomorrow either. Like, what the heck, man? Just taking every day off, man. Or maybe he is going to be here tomorrow. I don't know. Neither here nor there. But he's going to be here. We are hanging out here in the zone on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Let's talk a little football, a little camp football, not the Chiefs, but we head to Columbia where the Missouri Tigers getting ready to start their season. And Cody Goodwin joining us here on the line from Power Mizzou. Cody, welcome to the show. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, man. How you guys doing?
We are doing just fine. You're outside, working and covering camp. We're here at Advent Health Championship at Blue Hills and the Corn Ferry Tour and hanging out outside, so it's all good. We're watching golfers. You're watching football, and you're covering the number 25 team in America preseason. What do you make of that? About right? Maybe didn't expect them to be ranked. What do you think of Mizzou coming in right at number 25?
Well, hang on. I think we need to let listeners make up their own minds. I don't know that I would consider myself watching practice. I'm watching a handful of drills over the last few weeks as they prepare for, the upcoming season. Yes. So some might enjoy watching the actual golf, whereas, we only get certain, drills and whatnot that we get to see. Nothing super crazy.
Yes. No, you're right. It's a good distinction because it's always the parentheses, what we were able to watch. That's a good point.
Yes, it's always, they like to keep things under lock and key when it comes to the SEC. To your question about the, number 25 ranking in both the AP poll and the USA Today poll, I think it kind of works. You look at what Mizzou's done in recent seasons, 29 wins over the last 3 years. You look at kind of the state of college football with, just talent accumulation and how there's, probably, if you were to take a guess, 6 or 7, maybe 8 teams, maybe 10 teams, if you're really optimistic, have, rosters that, at least right now on paper before the games are played, that we think can probably contend for a national championship. And so when you get past, probably the top 15 teams or so, everything between 16 and 30 is a little bit of a dart throw. And so I think Mizzou checking in at 25, a little bit of a sign of respect based on what Drinkwitz has done the last few years. There are a lot of people that are pretty excited about this roster just from a talent standpoint, right? New quarterbacks in, a lot of new playmakers on defense. But 25 also suggests that there's still probably a few questions that this team has to answer, and I'm not sure if they're going to answer them in the first month of the season, just given who they play. But once they get into SEC play and really the back half of the schedule, when they have to play 5 of the preseason top 10 teams, I think that's when we'll really learn a lot about what this Missouri team is capable of and made of.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the point and the distinction of watching practice versus watching what they allow you to watch, which is some certain drills. How much can you glean from what you're able to do? At Chiefs camp, you're watching the whole thing. Fans are there watching the whole thing, so tons of video coming out and plays and things like that, and people can get excited, and you can see and track who are the ones, who are the twos running in 11 on 11 and running it when it's live, when it's good on good. How much are you able to glean of what this roster will look like based on the time that they allow you to be there to watch?
Yeah, I wish it was more. We get small glimpses here and there. We've been fortunate enough the last few weeks that, every now and again, Drinkwitz, while we're there, will say, all right, first, second team out on the field. And, nice. It's important to remember that there are quite a few position battles going on, whether it's in the secondary, whether it's on the offensive line, whether it's, who's going to be wide receiver 4, right? Really nitty-gritty stuff. What's the edge rotation look like, defensive line rotation look like. So, Drink calls first and second team offense and defense out on the field. That gives us some idea of who they're at least considering to play pretty big snaps this season. It's probably fair to point out, too, that we've been at practice when Drink has done that a few different times where he's called first team, second team out on the field. And, it's been different almost every time at certain positions, right? There's some positions where it's okay, Austin Simmons is QB1, right? We've seen the same 5 starting offensive linemen. We know Nicholas Rodriguez is probably going to be one of the starting linebackers. We know Santana Banner is going to be a starter in the secondary somewhere. But outside of that, we've seen a lot of rotation, and so that's kind of given us an idea of the guys that they're considering for starting spots, or they're, considering to play, maybe second team type snaps and stuff like that. But I wish we could see a little bit more. I wish we could see a live scrimmage, right? Like, that's one thing that Mizzou has kept under lock and key. We haven't been able to watch a live scrimmage that they've had so far this fall camp. And that, to me, I think would be infinitely more telling than maybe watching drills or, watching the quarterbacks throw against air, or watching, all these guys push the sled. It's you learn a little bit, but really not a ton. Like, it's nothing compared to what you guys have been watching, at Chiefs camp for the last month and a half.
Let's see, visiting with Cody Goodwin. What's the latest on Ahmad Hardy?
Yeah, the latest on Ahmad Hardy is we'll find out on Saturday, actually. I know that obviously, gunshot wound over the summer. I think it was, mid to early May is when it was. And as of July 20th at SEC Media Day, so literally a month ago today, Drinkwitz announced to the crowd that Ahmad Hardy had officially medically recovered from the gunshot wound. And what he's been doing now over the last month is the way I phrased it is like a return to football recovery portion of the recovery protocol, right? So he's easing his way back in. He's passing speed drills. He's passing strength drills. We haven't actually seen him practice in the practices that we've been able to go watch, the periods that we've been able to see. We've seen him work out. He's posted some videos and some pictures on his personal Instagram account. So we know he's lifting weights. We know he's running and doing things kind of separately away from the team. But we haven't actually seen him put pads on. We haven't seen him put cleats on. We haven't seen him, actually take a hit and bounce back up. And, I wonder if that's maybe what Eli Drinkwitz is waiting to see before he really starts to maybe feel a lot more confident about this team, because, we've been trying to judge the vibes based on the limited practice availability that we have gotten, and we can't really get a read on maybe how Drink feels about this team. We know he likes what he has in his quarterback. We know he really likes the offensive line, but he said at the beginning of fall camp that, like, hey, we have a lot of questions that we need to answer, and some of those questions may not get answered until they actually kick off and play a different team, sometime early next month. They're 2 weeks out from week 1 today. So, and even then, it's only Arkansas Pine Bluff. How many questions can you actually get answered on a night like that against a team like that? So, I think part of his maybe unknown about what he has is just, okay, how is 29 going to handle taking that first hit after everything that he went through and all the recovery that he's gone through for the last, 2 or 3 months now. So he's on his way back. I do anticipate that Ahmad Hardy is going to play this season. As for when he'll play this season, we'll hopefully get an update from Drinkwitz sometime Saturday night after their scrimmage.
So is he practicing, or is it just around practice right now and working out away from practice?
He's kind of doing his own thing, like his own. We haven't seen him put cleats on. We haven't even seen him put his jersey on. But there's been a couple of practices where we've seen him standing with the running backs, not participating, but helping some of the younger new guys with some small technique type stuff. But otherwise, he's largely been on his own, lifting weights, doing stuff with their training staff, kind of away from football stuff. So not football related activities so far as we've seen.
Visiting with Cody Goodwin, Power Mizzou, as the Missouri Tigers get ready 2 weeks from today. They take on, like you said, Pine Bluff. Are we going to go through the who's the actual starting quarterback thing again this year with Eli, like Austin Simmons and Zollers, and who's really going to be the guy? Or can we just go ahead and say that it's Simmons and put him out there playing so that – or do you want to keep it a secret for Kansas? Like they don't know who to prepare for, whether it be Simmons or Zollers, if they both play against Pine Bluff.
No, I think Austin Simmons is the guy. He was named the guy at the end of spring ball last March, and he's been the guy that has routinely run out with the first-team offense during some of the practices that we've been able to see. I will say, though, like Matt Zollers, I know that he kind of had a rocky freshman year last season. And, again, with the caveat that we haven't gotten to see any of the good stuff when we've been at practice. But I'll tell you what we have seen is that this guy just looks like he's a little bit more comfortable and confident. I think there's still maybe a step between Austin Simmons and Matt Zollers, because Simmons has been he's going into his 4th college season. He started a couple games last year. There's just a veteran presence around him. But Matt Zollers is a guy that just, again, based on the limited practices that we've seen, this is a guy that I think has clearly taken a step. He's embraced the fact that, the staff brought in Austin Simmons, not just to be the quarterback this year, but to maybe give somebody Matt Zollers to chase, right? Somebody that he can emulate, somebody that he can learn from. And I think he's really cashed in on that opportunity over the last few months. And, Drinkwitz has raved about Zollers and his overall development and, just how much better he's gotten after getting that experience last season when Bo got hurt and he had to get thrust into the starting lineup. So, Austin Simmons, I think, if everything goes according to plan, Austin Simmons will be a net positive for Mizzou this season, but also really help Matt Zollers develop so that future Missouri season's quarterback won't be much of an issue.
Visiting with Cody Good and Power Mizzou. Sorry about that, Cody. Dropped here. I think we're back now. And speaking of Austin Simmons, how you mentioned the net positive. Is this maybe some stability at QB that they haven't had since, Cook, that, you've had the Horn and the Zollers and Bo, obviously, that Simmons with a couple of years that can come in and look like a representative, SEC quarterback here for this team and maybe have that production that they had from Cook for a couple of years?
Yeah, I think they're hoping that Simmons can give them plus level play at the quarterback position because Brady Cook left, right. They brought in Bo Pribula last year, and I think everybody, I don't have to remind anybody that Bo was not good enough in the games that Missouri had to win in order to get where they wanted to go, right? To contend for SEC championships and to really be in that college football playoff conversation, right? Like he came up short against Alabama. He got hurt against Vanderbilt. It was a 10-win team. They couldn't move the ball at all against Oklahoma. And so I think, not only bringing in Austin Simmons, who's a guy that has SEC playing experience, but also surrounding him with some new coaches, right? They had to hire an offensive coordinator this offseason, so they brought in Chip Lindsey, a guy that's got a pretty good track record of quarterback development, whether it's Drake May, Nick Mullins, Jarrett Stidham. He identified Bo Nix on the recruiting trail. But then they also hired a new quarterbacks coach as well in Garrett Riley, who's a former offensive coordinator at Clemson, TCU, SMU. He's been really instrumental in helping Cade Klubnik have a pretty good season a couple years ago, and then when Max Duggan led TCU to the national championship game and was a Heisman finalist, that was Garrett Riley's doing as well. And so, the hope here is it's kind of almost like, they saw that last year quarterback was kind of a weakness compared to the rest of the team, and, bringing in Simmons as well as Lindsey and Riley is a little bit of an overcorrection, I think, to at least not make it a weakness, and the hope and the bet here is that they really make quarterback a strength, and if they can get plus level play from the quarterback position, I think that raises the ceiling of this team. It makes the offense that much more dynamic, and I really think that, Mizzou will have, or at least stand a better chance against some of the better teams on their schedule this year, because, A&M, Ole Miss, they got to play Georgia, Texas back-to-back weeks. They end with Oklahoma again. Like, they're going to have to beat some really, really good teams if they want to be in that playoff conversation again this year come November. And so the hope is that plus level play from the quarterback position and everything else kind of goes the way that they think it's gone the last few years. They'll at least have that opportunity in some of those bigger games.
What's the one of the issues last year that was sort of under the radar was Blake Craig and getting injured, not under the radar early on, but as the season went on. Is he good, healthy, ready to go and look like the Blake Craig before he was injured?
Yeah, 100% healthy back. He's been healthy, I think, since probably June, if I remember what Drinkwitz said right about his timeline.
Nice.
But no limits on, what he's able to do from, strength and conditioning-wise. Legs still as strong as ever. Again, limited practice viewing, so we've really only seen him kick, I think from as deep as 45 or 48 yards. But that's a guy that's absolutely capable of hitting from 50-plus, if not deeper than that. He's back healthy. He's back confident. There's a new special teams coordinator in town, so the hope is that you bring Craig back healthy. You have a new coach coaching the special teams. They've got a few other players in there that I know they're really excited about, and that the special teams can be a plus for this Missouri team as well, because that's really, you look at a lot of the things that held that Missouri team back last year, whether it was quarterback, not being multiple or dynamic enough on offense, but also special teams really held them back, not only from the field goal standpoint, but they didn't have a punter last year that could flip the field. They weren't very good about covering kicks, and, they really weren't a threat in the return game outside of, I think, one punt return touchdown by Kevin Coleman in the season finale. So, Blake Craig being back, I think, really has this team excited about what they could potentially do on special teams as well.
The defense, they've lost a number of guys so far, from last year. Obviously, we know Zion and Damon Wilson, and, you lose Trotter. You talk about the talent about it. Do you think the defense will look like this year for Missouri?
Yeah, a lot of new faces. I think, the magic number that we had said, I think it was back during the transfer portal, so this is 8 months ago now, but at one point, they had lost every single regular starter from last year's defense. Then they were able to get one of them back, Sterling Webb, thanks to a St. Louis County judge. Yeah. Mizzou truly an SEC program now if they're going to the court system to try and get a player back for eligibility purposes. So they've got Sterling Webb back. But really, even though they lost a ton of guys, the cupboard wasn't totally bare, right? I mentioned Nick Rodriguez back at linebacker. He's going to step in and play a monster role this year. Santana Banner back as one of the starting safeties. He didn't necessarily start a ton last year, but he played a lot as the season went along. He's a tremendous athlete. Marquise Gracial back on the defensive line. Darius Smith, really good edge rusher. He put on 25 pounds of muscle this offseason, so they're really excited to see what he can do in replacing Zion Young and Damon Wilson. So those are the returning names. There's a lot of other guys that they tapped into the portal to go get, like a Robert Woodyard Jr. at linebacker, like a Chris Graves Jr., a cornerback from Ole Miss. And then there's also been guys that have just been developing that they're excited to see take on bigger roles, like a Trajan Greco at free safety. That guy used to be a 4-star player. Now he's going to step up and play a bigger role in the secondary. A guy like Langdon Kitchen, he was a one-time transfer. He came in from Northwest Missouri State, but he backed up Zion last year. Now it's his turn to kind of step up and be the next starter at defensive end. They're also really excited about a kid named Dayton Hopkins, he's a sophomore this year. He's from Herman, Missouri. He flashed a little bit last season playing as a freshman in limited snaps. So it's a lot of new faces, and I think if you want to be optimistic about the defense, you look at the track record of defensive coordinator Corey Batoon. Each of the last 2 seasons that he's been the DC, Mizzou has had a top 30 defense. I don't know if they have the personnel to maybe be a top 20 or even a top 10 defense like they were a year ago. I think there's just too many questions and there's just too much unknown right now. But you can tell that there's a lot of talent just based on the guys that they brought in. And when you pair them together with a smart defensive coordinator like Corey Batoon, I think the way he has coached this unit the last few years, he probably deserves the benefit of the doubt a little bit. And so now it's just a matter of, okay, let's spot the ball, let's play some games, and let's really see this unit come together, and we'll see how good they'll be.
Cody Goodwin, our guest from Power Mizzou. The worm has turned when it comes to the schedule this year for Mizzou of what it's been the last couple of years, and why a lot of people were optimistic about, a chance at making the playoffs. The win totals sitting at 6.5 for Mizzou this year. What do you think they get to? Do they get to 7? Is it Florida, Oklahoma, Kansas winning 2 of those 3? And you think they can get to 7? How do you view this team as they, 2 weeks away from Pine Bluff?
Yeah, you hate how perfect Vegas sets these lines every single year, don't you? Like 6.5 for this Missouri team is just like incredible. I think when it comes to this Missouri team, I think I look at the first 3 games. I really look at the first month of the season. Like they should be 3-0 going into that final game of September against Mississippi State, and that's a game that's in Starkville, right? So that in itself, I think, is a pretty big challenge. If they're not 3-0 going into that game, then we have a lot bigger questions, I think, that we need to answer about this program and where they're at. But they should be 3-0 going into that Mississippi State game, and that's going to be a little bit of a hornet's nest, man. Like they are Mississippi State, the team, the third-year head coach Jeff Levy. They have a really talented quarterback in Kamario Taylor, big-bodied, can run, can throw, strong arm. Levy has a pretty fun offense, right? He was part of, when Oklahoma was back in the Big 12, he was the offensive coordinator for them, doing a lot of fun things. And then I think the other sneaky thing about Mississippi State is that they recently rehired defensive coordinator Zach Arnett. And wherever Arnett has been, the defense has been very, very good. And he was previously at Mississippi State. He was the defensive coordinator for Mike Leach. That's just a guy that's been around the SEC. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to put together a good defense, similar to Corey Batoon. And so this is going to be an intriguing team early enough in the season. And then on top of that, Mississippi State's a tough team to play at home. Last season, they beat Arizona State, the previous Big 12 champs. And then on top of that, they also took Texas and Tennessee to overtime. And so that's just going to be a really tough place to play, especially early in the season. And I think that matchup specifically in Starkville is going to tell us a lot about Missouri. Like I kind of look at the Kansas game and I'm like, okay, in the in the grand scheme of things, that seems to me like a pop quiz for this Missouri team. Like, that's one that they should pass. How do they look when they do it? Like, that could tell us a few things. But that game at Mississippi State in Starkville at the end of September, 2 weeks after they go to Lawrence, that to me is like the first big test of the season. And that will tell me a lot about whether this team can win 7, possibly even 8 or 9 games, or if they're going to struggle to try and hit that 6-win plateau to go bowling. Because, Mississippi State is one thing, but the rest of that schedule, right, they have to play Texas A&M, who has their number. They have to go to Ole Miss, who has Trinidad Chambliss, one of the best quarterbacks in college football this past season. And then November, Texas at home, at Georgia, Kentucky at home, Oklahoma at home. Like, it's nice that they've got 3 or 4 in November at home, but, Texas, Georgia, and Oklahoma are all top 10 teams coming into the preseason. So, it's going to be tough. 6.5 seems like the perfect line because, depending on how you view this team, if you're optimistic, yeah, they should get to 7 wins. If you're a little, I need some questions answered first, there's a world where they could go 5-7 based on this schedule if they don't come correct, every single week. It's one of those schedules.
2 weeks from today, they will kick off. If you're putting your prediction out on August 20th, what would the record be?
I tend to err on the side of optimism, so I think right now, until I see anything different, and maybe I need to come on before the Mississippi State game or after the Mississippi State game and redo my record guess. But I think right now, I don't know. I see 8-4. I see them getting through these first 5 games. I see them finding a way to knock off one of the preseason top 10 teams that's currently on the schedule. I couldn't tell you who. But I think they get one of them this year, and this is a team where, 8-4 after winning 29 games the last 3 years. It's like, well, 8-4 is kind of a step back. Like, there's a world where this Missouri team goes 8-4, 7-5, and in theory, they might even be better than last year's team that went 8-4. But the schedule is just that much harder. So welcome to playing 9 SEC games in a season. And I don't know. I think right now, August 20th, 2 weeks from week 1, I like these Tigers to go 8-4. I think they can do some fun stuff this year.
All right, we'll see what happens. Cody Goodwin, PowerMizzou.com. Cody, you're the man. Appreciate it, brother. And, yes, we will definitely catch up as the season goes along. Thank you for the time today.
Always appreciate you guys having me. Talk to you again soon.
Absolutely. There's Cody Goodwin. Great stuff from him. Love having Cody on from Power Mizzou. You can go check out all of his stuff. He's got the camp observations from every single practice. And, yes, they aren't out there for the full practice like the Chiefs have and things like that. But you can glean some things as to who's running with the 1s and 2s when Eli Drinkwitz puts them out there. We'll take a time out. We'll come back. We'll continue rolling. Mick Schaefer's going to hang out with us in the 1 o'clock hour. We continue Advent Health Championship going on Blue Hills as round number 1 today for the Korn Ferry Tour final event. Golf Channel broadcasting as well with this event. We'll take a time out. We'll be back. More Zone next.
Welcome to the Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Sterling Holmes, Jason Anderson, Michael Darcy. A little technical difficulties out there, the Advent Health Championship out there at Blue Hills. So, back at the station now. I do want to talk a little Royals right now before we have Mick Schaefer join at 1 o'clock. Again, the Royals may never lose again. They win yet again a comeback. I like how K-Dog might be the jinx that this Royals team needs. When they were down 5-1, the reverse jinx from K-Dog as the Royals come back and win 9-7. Good news, bad news. Obviously, the good news was the comeback win. Bad news, Jack Caglione exited the game in the 5th inning with right ankle soreness. I know we'll talk about it a little bit more with Jason later on, but this was re-aggravated in this game. This is the same injury that he had been dealing with dating back to the West Coast swing against the Angels. He had been managing it the past few days, and it flared up yet again as he was hustling down the line in that first inning on that single. I will also point out him beating out the throw in the first inning for that single extended his career high on base streak to 17 games. That dates back to August 1st.
Do we worry about lingering issues long-term just with how big he is and how there have been different injuries this year, but there's been a couple different things that have kept him out of games?
I disagree with a lot of folk on this. No. Long story short, no. I'm not worried about Cag's injury concerns long term. You know me, outfield, infield, first base, right field. If we start seeing more of a trend and we see him getting injured, specifically playing right field more often, then yeah, sure, we can have that conversation. But right now, if Vinny is going to start hitting to end the season, he had a couple nice hits, including a home run last night. If Vinny continues to heat up and you go into next year going, you know what? No, we think Vinny is our everyday first baseman. Now, I understand the potential platoon against lefties, which you know my thoughts there. You then would have right field and first base figured out. If you wanted to say move Vinny to DH and move Cags to first, yeah, sure.
What if they did a platoon DH with Vinny and Salvi?
I don't hate it. Like, you know my thoughts. I don't hate it. I think Salvador Perez should be the legitimate backup catcher next year with a smattering of first base. I think Carter should play every single day. I want Cags to play every single day. But if you want Vinny and or the occasional Salvi in your lineup a little more than just a legit backup catcher, you're going to have Cags in right field.
Yeah. What's Salvi's OPS against lefties? Because we were talking about it the other day. Vinny can't really hit lefties.
No, it's been now a trend. It's not a 1 year or one-off. It's been a trend. Salvador Perez against lefties this year is .733.
I mean, that'll play.
That'll play. I mean, it's not great for a first baseman. Really good for a catcher. Really solid for a catcher. Hits .254. Slugging .429. And that'll play.
And then the question is, if you platoon DH with Vinny and Salvi, you move Cags to first base, who's your right fielder? That's a huge issue. And in an offseason where they have so many other things to worry about, I don't know how much that is going to be a priority this offseason.
Well, and I've talked many, many times, you have to figure out, do you believe in Isaac Collins as a starter or as a fourth outfielder? Because you cannot trot out this version of Isaac Collins and you for sure can't have Kyle Isbell in center field. You can't have both those guys in left and center. And that's why, again, if Cags were to move to first base, well, now you have all three outfield spots you now have to fill.
The issue the Royals are going to run into, and it's the same thing the Chiefs ran into, it's after a disappointing season where there are legitimate roster holes, you can address the bullpen in the offseason. You can try to address the rotation in the offseason, but you can't go out and also find 2 or 3 new bats, 2 or 3 starters, so they might be stuck with playing Isaac Collins as a starter. Like, I think in a normal offseason where there's not a lockout looming and there's not a bullpen that needs to get completely overhauled, there's not multiple potential starters needed for the rotation, you could go out and address the bats, but I just don't think they're going to be able to do everything. So you might be stuck with Isbell again next year or Collins, starting substantial amounts of games.
I do think what's been helpful is you're seeing Cags continue to progress. So offensively, there is your middle of the order bat. I think Isaac Collins, you were hoping could be your on-base guy. Well, now he's dropped down to 325. That's just simply not good enough. I know we talked about how he started off weak, and then he had a really nice stretch, and that ended up going till about August, and then it has been a absolute disaster for Collins since then. Pitching side of things, especially the bullpen, I think it's nice that we're seeing Nate Pearson do what he's done. Maybe you found a guy in Nate Pearson. Obviously, we now see Ersig drop down to AAA. You cannot count on Lucas for next year. I think you're looking at Steven Cruz, Daniel Lynch, and Nate Pearson. So you have 3 bullpen pieces. That's probably what you're looking at. As a starter, though, I do think you're finding more and more optimism in Noah Cameron that he has figured it out. I don't want to say he's a 1 or a 2, but how he currently is pitching, I think would constitute a 3. I think Seth Lugo, you have a 4 or a 5. Michael Wacha, I think, is your 2 or 3. So at least you have a few options, but you do need to try and find that top-of-the-line guy. You're right. You can't do it all in one offseason. I mean, I'm sure the Chiefs wanted to. I'm sure the Chiefs wanted to have a better edge situation. I'm sure the Chiefs wanted to go in with better tight ends as backups and as wide receivers, but you can only do so much for them. They lost a safety in Brian Cook. They said, okay, let's bring in a safety and a Loie Gilman. Okay, we're tired of Mike Pennell and Derek Nottie on the defensive interior, so let's draft Peter Woods and bring in Kairos Tonga. Let's move on because we can't afford Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson. Let's draft Mansour Delane. You can't figure out and build every single and fill every single hole in one offseason. It's where are the biggest weaknesses. And so the Royals have to decide where are their biggest weakness. Is it going to be their quote-unquote ace? Is it going to be the bullpen? Or is it going to be 2 to 3 bats? That's what they have to figure out.
Well, we had Jack Johnson in, it had been a month or so ago, and you guys were on vacation. And actually, no, you were here. That was the Monday that Jason was out, but we were both here.
You and I, we're grinders, baby.
We're grinders. But he was basically talking about how the bats are probably the lowest on the pecking total of priorities. Like, there's just other things that the Royals are going to have to address first and foremost. And while it would be nice to address the offense, I don't know how realistic that is.
Well, and monetarily speaking, of course, too. We're not talking about bringing in a Lane Thomas.
No.
And again, I'm not saying Lane Thomas was perfectly fine for this team. Perfectly fine.
He did his job.
He did his job. But we're not looking at the Starling Martes or the fourth outfielders, the platoon guys. If you're bringing in a bat, it needs to be an everyday player. It needs to be a Taylor Ward. That's what it has to be. Bringing in the platoon guys, in my opinion,
you might as well just keep Isaac Collins in left.
Well, yeah, I mean, or you might as well just go and spend that money in the bullpen, or use that money on a top-of-the-line starter, on a Casey Mize, instead of trying to bring in 2 or 3, because you have those guys, the Tyler Tolberts of the world, to an extent the Nick Loftons of the world. You don't need to go out and bring in my opinion, a Lane Thomas. You need to bring in an everyday guy. The Randy Arozarenas, the Taylor Wards, and if you can't get those dudes, then you do have to set your sights on, all right, well, let's try and build up a dominant bullpen. Let's spend maybe more money to make sure we get our guy. The, what's it, Morjan? The,
Marjan?
Not Mahjong, not the game, but yeah.
No. Marjan.
The lefty for the Padres.
I don't know.
Either way, you know my point. The guy that throws 98 from the left side, the bullpen piece for the Padres, that would be a guy, if you can't bring in an impact bat, maybe you overpay for an elite reliever to try and bolster it, because that has been the main cause of pain this year for the Royals. For fans, and I'm sure the team included, I'm sure the starters have felt the same way as well, of the bullpen being 2 scoops of ass. And so fixing that bullpen, we talked about it time and time again. We don't need to get into the numbers, but this is if they would go 500 in those spots, they'd be about a 500 ball club right now. But they've been such a disaster with leads late in games in the 8th and 9th inning. You're now looking at a team that is 20 games under 500.
And if they had a quality bullpen, even if the Royals were 500, they're still in the race.
Team.
They're still in the race.
Right now, let me tell you what a 500 team would do.
Not in the NL, but in the AL, you absolutely have a fighting chance.
You would be the third wild card spot because right now the Twins are in that third wild card spot, and they are 63 and 65 with a negative 41 run differential.
I think I had the Twins finishing last in the division as well.
I did.
I mean, they're not a good team. Like, well, they're a better team, but objectively, if the Twins are a playoff team, the AL is just not very good.
And that's also where you have to figure out. I get nervous that JJ will say, well, we just need to be around 500. Fine. More enjoyable than this year. But do you think the AL will be this bad again next season? Trying to count on the third wild card spot being under 500 after 128 games does not seem to be the winning methodology that I would roll with. That seems to be the outlier. And you know my thoughts. The Royals bet too often on outlier seasons and situations. That, to me, it would be another example. Again, I'm not saying the AL is going to go from brutal to all of a sudden phenomenal next year. But again, counting on 500 or less being the third wild card spot is a loser's bet, and that's a loser's mentality. There needs to be overarching change. I will also point out, for all the talks of fire Zumwalt, bats have not been the issue this year.
Well, they were in the beginning.
Sure, but
not currently the issue.
If you told me what's been the bigger issue for the Royals this year, has it been the bats or has it been the pitching side of things? They've scored more runs.
The injuries in the bullpen.
They've scored more runs than the Mariners, Angels, Guardians, obviously, Toronto, Rangers. I'm not saying this is a great offense. Let me see where they land in runs per game overall. But I don't think we're sitting here going, the offense has been the main issue. It hasn't been good, but it's not been the bullpen or the starters. They're 22nd in runs scored per game this year. Not good enough, but it hasn't been this. Bobby's been out. Michael's been out. Vinny's been out.
What did they rank in 2023? Or 2024? Because if they were around that
13.
Okay, so that's substantially better. But
last year they were 26th.
So they're improved off last year. The record is not, but the bullpen was also not this bad last year.
You just look at this, and you have to find, and I think they will, a way to at least go 500 next year. If you're building a new ballpark, I do think going back to when they originally did the vote, and in that offseason, they extended Bobby Witt Jr., I think that was a sign of goodwill, a sign of, hey, we're investing in this team, so trust us. Didn't go their way. You're trying to get a new ballpark. You have to spend money. You have to bring in players that help you try and make a playoff push. Because if you have this situation next year, I get it. It should be decided by then. Hopefully broke ground by then. It's just a horrendous look. You have to find a way to be competitive next year.
And how enthused would you be if the Royals were a couple games above 500, they make the playoffs, but they built the team to essentially be 500, and even though they make the playoffs, if you're playing a team like the Yankees
but
or the Red Sox,
it's a stepping stone.
Sure.
I don't think you go. Teams do. Rare. Teams do. You have to have that. Yes, I would take that right now. Let's say you make the play. Would you sign up for making the playoffs?
Absolutely.
But lose first round of the wild card? Yes.
Yes.
I would take that. Because that's the stepping stone. I'm not trying to...
If the progression's linear.
I
think that's the concern, is that they would go out and spend all this money to be an average, slightly above average team record-wise, and just based on the past. Looking at the outlier season, they banked everything on that, and then the next two seasons, technically 2025 was a winning season. It really frustrates me when the front office or just maybe fans in general, look back at 2025 and chalk it up as a success because it was a winning season.
Well,
I think that's loser mentality.
It's KU football.
Sure. But that does not mean
I'm
that
not
it's
trying to be a knock.
No.
But
here's the thing. That's pathetic. As a KU fan, I can realize it's pathetic. It's a stepping stone, but it is to a certain extent pathetic.
Well, no, and also if you want to take it that way too, not every season is linear. So they had the great year Kansas did, and they took a step back, then another step back, but you keep looking at the one great year as is that the norm. Clearly, that's the outlier. That is a similar situation to what we're looking at with the Royals in 2024. Let's take a break. Let's come back, talk some Chiefs on the other side. Mick Schaefer joins at 1, The Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Thursday edition of The Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. What I think will be fun the rest of the show is each segment we sort of surprise the people as to who's here. So like the next segment, Michael will bring it back from break and lead the conversation the first few minutes. The segment after that, Mick Schaefer brings it back, leads the conversation. Then Sterling, then I wrap up the show. And everybody's like, I didn't even know who was in the whole time. The whole time they were just sitting there hanging out and not talking? Why would they do that?
Set of gloves the whole time?
Yeah, it is sports radio. Of course there's going to be more people there, a part of the show. Not just going to leave it like dead air. You know what I mean? It's not going to be the case. AdventHealthChampionship.com. You can go and check out how you can go and watch the Advent Health Championship at Blue Hills. Thank you to Cody Goodwin joining us earlier this hour. The Royals conversation there. I appreciate you guys talking about how the correlation, causation, direct connection to Cag's ankle by playing in right field. That's awesome for you to admit, Sterling.
Stop it.
It's not what I expect. Stop it. This guy. Stop it. It's not what I expected to hear from you, Sterling. To be quite honest with you, I did not expect for you to go that route, but it's cool.
You're lucky I didn't go even more into just...
I know. You had an opportunity. You could have done it. You were in the open court. You had the ball in your hands, and you decided to pull it out and run clock. Look at you.
Nice
That's
guy.
Smart.
Steve Nash it. I'm not showboating. I'm not going to Ja Morant this. I'm going to...
So smart, man. That's one of the smartest things ever. Not like... who was it that OG blocked? De'Aaron Fox. Not like De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox would have went right to the Cags commentary. He would have went right for it. Said this, see? He got injured because he's not playing enough right field. That's the problem. You got to get your legs ready for the course of the year to play in the outfield. Come on, man. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do in the offseason. I'm totally fine with them going and spending money on the bullpen and the pitching side of it. By the way, Rashad White, did you see this with the Commanders?
No.
So Rashad White is dealing with a groin injury, okay? Not considered serious or long-term, not expected to play this game, maybe not even preseason game number 3. They are saying that he got injured in the quote-unquote joint practice that they had a couple days ago.
Okay.
People are now disagreeing and saying that's not where he got injured. They think he got injured in the Ice Bucket Challenge.
No.
There's video the Commanders put out, and they're like, since this happened, we haven't seen Rashad White on the field. They're doing the Ice Bucket Challenge, and then Rashad White, because it's for CJ2K, Chris Johnson wanted to bring the Ice Bucket Challenge back for ALS, so the Commanders are doing that. They've got their running backs there.
Awesome.
They do and Rashad White says, I'm challenging the running back rooms across the league to participate in the Ice Bucket Challenge. And then they're like, all right, guys, here we go. They put the ice on them, right? The ice bucket, they dump it on his head. And obviously when the water falls, it goes across the pavement in front of him. And Rashad White is wearing sandals, like slides, right?
No.
So he jumps up like, whoa, his right foot hits and slips, and you see his legs like almost do the splits, and he sort of hops out of the video. And we haven't seen him on the field since.
Dude.
Commanders are saying he got injured in the joint practice, but people are now saying I think he might have got injured doing that, which is unfortunate because you're doing a good thing. Hopefully that's not what it was from, that it was just like, oh, he slipped and he's an athlete and he just jogs off after that and it's not a big deal. But it is interesting how the finely tuned athletes, when we talk about like the training they go through, the preparation they go through, how finely tuned they are. And you would think like little things like that wouldn't be an issue, to whereas like for me or something that isn't very flexible, that might be something that hurts. Where oddly enough, sometimes like that would injure an athlete more than it would injure just a regular person. Why? Because I can't pull that muscle. I don't have it.
You can't pull fat.
I can't pull fat. You know, that's the thing, is if you don't gain muscle.
Cags get fat.
That's what I'm saying.
We need a fat Cags.
He is PHAT though. His bat is pretty fat right now.
We need him if we want him to be healthy.
He's hitting with a fat bat.
Yeah.
He's using that fat bat. That's what he's using right now. That Cags fat bat. Fat bat.
We need him to start looking like Tugboat Wilkerson for Giants last night.
You want him to be fat up.
By the way, how about the name? We're bringing back Tugboats.
Tugboat?
In 2026.
Tugboat?
I don't know if you saw it. Did you see that?
No.
Picture of the Giants?
Yeah, huge.
Tugboat McGraw?
Tugboat Wilkerson, baby.
We got to have nicknames coming back.
Yeah, it's huge. And he's a big – look at him.
He looks like a shipping freight.
We got to have somebody named Shipping Freight. Like the Country Breakfast and Pasquatch and things like that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine, but
Bring back the tugboats.
Tugboat, man.
Welcome back to The Zone on Sports Radio 810 WHB. I'm Mick Schaefer, your host for the next several seconds. Yeah. We are back at the station because
You are a badass because you demanded it.
a couple double bogeys were hit earlier in the day at the golf course. Triple bogeys.
Sterling took a double shot.
2 in the water, maybe 1 OB. Got up and down, though.
Some houses were drilled.
Got back here.
Yeah.
Mick, by the way, did you hear what Sterling did to go from a birdie to a double bogey? Birdie tap in to a double bogey.
No, I got a par tap. I lipped out a birdie.
sorry. A par tap into a double
Is this another
bogey.
Sterling story?
No,
or is this today?
No, this was the other day.
How on it. I was saying how
He wasn't
Is this a
thinking.
metaphor?
No. He wasn't
it's really
He wasn't
golf.
thinking. So tell the story.
because
you
he
looked
goes,
out the birdie.
He was laughing. He goes, "Yeah, you're good. Just pick it up." The guy
Yes,
hits
but-
like 6 inches.
It was like right next to the cup, and he bent down and he marked it. I said, "Oh, you're good. Just pick it up and take it." I know he's marking the ball, but it was almost like you're good. You can pick it up, like it's
Did you play golf together?
No,
No.
this was today. Oh, sorry,
I
sorry.
am
I apologize.
confused.
This was the first couple minutes of the show. A guy barely misses a putt on hole 9 at Blue Hills.
Yeah.
And he goes over there and he's bending over to mark it, and I go, "You're good. Just pick it up. That's fine. You got it." And then Sterling said, "Oh, well, let me tell you this
I
story."
actually did that in on the weekend. It was the club championship. You have to put everything out, right?
Sure, yeah.
And so I hit one to about like 6 inches.
You just scooped it up with
Just
a putter.
Just scooped it.
Sterling.
It was a birdie putt.
What's wrong with you?
Well, I was mad. I lipped out the birdie, and so I scooped it. So,
Oh, I bet you're so mad. I'm on a par.
no, a par would have been great. I was struggling. And so
Was it a par though?
Should have tapped it in.
I should have tapped it in, but I ended up not doing it until I assessed myself the penalty. So I ended up going from a potential birdie to a double.
Did you assess it, or did
I
the
did.
people you're playing
I
with?
did, and they said you're good. I go no, just in case if I end up getting close to like the money. That'd be a brutal way to do it. And so I said no, it's a double. I got to give myself the penalty. And so I was laughing just with the.
There's some smells about this story. You went from like, oh, I'm just going to pick it up to immediately being a Boy Scout out there.
Yeah,
Okay.
club championship. You have to. I mean, this is.
Then why didn't you tap it in?
It's an. I forgot. I didn't think about it. I was like.
Lost his mind. Like, oh, just pick it up. There we go.
Also,
This is good.
it was funny he marked it. I'm like, at that point,
Yeah, it
dog,
was
you
right next to
just
the cup.
tap it. Just
It was
give a
that
little
close?
It was that close.
I'd
I
be
mean,
like-
it was literally like.
I feel like I'd be annoyed if he marked it and then stepped away. You're away.
There could be some gamesmanship going on out
That's a
there.
good
That
point.
happens. Maybe
Oh,
you put
yeah.
the mark in the line or whatever, or yeah.
Somebody annoyed you on the previous hole. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
all right. I didn't miss this on purpose, but I do have my opportunity here to go ahead and give a little payback. I can be petty.
There was a
gonna
dude
be
who
petty
was
here.
7 under through 8 holes.
Yeah.
I heard you talk about him.
Insane.
The Cove. The Cove. Meister,
man.
yeah.
Cove man.
Kovner. The
I wonder how
Cove.
he's doing right now.
I don't know. He's not 3 under through. I don't know. What if he's is setting the course record out there? You know?
There are dudes
Dude, he's
that will
12
destroy that course,
12 under.
but it's hard to do it 3 days in a row.
Yes.
2
Kozan.
days in a row sometimes.
Andrew Kozan is 12 under through
Bet it-
17th holes.
Bet he doesn't win. That's how it works. Just too early.
I think I'll take the field. After
yeah,
round
yeah,
one.
sure,
I think
yeah.
I'll-
Birdie, eagle, par, birdie,
Where's he at
par
on the leader?
9.
How much is he up by?
Up 2.
Part of
So
9 because you
somebody's-
guys were talking.
It's right.
He is now.
Why did he? What happened? Why did he end up parring?
He has
that
now
one?
birdied 4 straight holes in the back 9, heading into 18.
Jiminy Christmas.
Can you
Dude, this
imagine if we
guy-
were there on one of those
So
games?
he's 12 under through 13, you said?
12 through 17 holes.
So we got
Through
one hole
17
left.
holes. Okay,
Dude,
gotcha.
you know how insane
And
that
the
is?
leader-
That has to be. He's a leader.
What clubhouse leader
par
is 10?
72? Is he putting from 59? Or he's maybe already there. What's par?
No, it should be par 72,
Why
right?
don't you walk over and look, Sterling? Just walk over and look at the. Real quick. We'll be here hanging out on 9. On
par
the green here.
72. So yeah, so he is 12 under. So he's the
Could
birdie
be
18.
putting for 59 out
He
there.
could be putting for a 59.
The Coes, man.
The Coes, man.
Dude.
The Coes.
And on a par 72.
Man.
That's crazy. A
Yeah.
59 on a par 72 is
People don't
nuts.
ask, and honestly, they shouldn't. I would
No.
never be like chintzy, like, did you shoot 59 on a par 70? I didn't think so. Okay, whatever, average person. I would never do that.
Average person.
But
Oh, it's a par
in
70.
the realm of these guys and their, plus 10 handicaps or whatever, yeah, there's a difference to being 13 under and being 11 under.
Dude, Mick, you said whatever average person. I got to play this clip. Let's play clip number 2 here. Harry Douglas. He was asked about Patrick Mahomes being number 18 in the NFL Top 100, and you saying that just sparked in my mind what Harry Douglas. I don't know if you guys have heard this or not, but here's Harry Douglas on Patrick Mahomes being ranked number 18 in the NFL Top 100.
Yeah, the disrespect is at an all-time high when it comes to Patrick Mahomes. I still believe he's the best quarterback in the game. And Patrick Mahomes, he's not going to sweat about any of this. You know what he's going to say? Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. You peasants. How dare all of you disrespect me in this manner? You peasants. 3-time Super Bowl champion, 3-time Super Bowl MVP, 2-time NFL MVP, Offensive Player of the Year. You peasants.
You average people. You peasants.
He was the leader in the. MVP leader for several weeks last year, midseason. Probably had a bad, or the offense had a down. Mid-November to mid-December before he got injured. Other than that, he was Patrick of old. That list is so reactionary.
Yeah,
I mean, Lamar Jackson at 69. Was that the nice number he had? I think I counted. There's
Remember
3
when Lamar a
quarterbacks
few years
left,
ago was number 1, and that was 1 versus 4, Mahomes, and he counted to 4 against the Ravens?
I forgot about Harry Douglas. He had that 1 year opposite Julio.
Atlanta Falcons.
He had that 1 year.
That's
that was
the Harry Douglas we're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Harry Douglas from?
Louisville?
Yeah. Tom
he had
Jackson
that
and
1 year
Herman.
that was nuts. He had that 1,000 yards, 85 receptions, because he was the opposite of Julio for a long time down there.
He
And I
played
always
the
thought,
role of a number 2, you know? Everybody's, shading over for who, you know what Patrick Mahomes is saying?
peasants.
You peasants. You understand what I've done? You understand the tower that I'm sitting in right now above the rest of you?
Drake May is going to be ranked ahead of him. He hasn't been ranked yet. I think I looked.
Drake May's ahead of him.
Josh Allen, and then
Allen's going to be number 1.
Yeah, but who's the third? I think there's 3.
Miles Garrett.
Burrow.
No,
the
quarterback.
My bad.
Probably Burrow.
No, he's already been. He's in the 40s.
Stafford.
It's going to be Stafford, I think.
Yep.
Stafford's the third, yep.
So what's funny with Drake May, I don't understand. I think he's a really good quarterback. He had a great year. There's no denying it. But we've seen Jaden Daniels have a great 1 year. We saw C.J. Stroud.
Deal, man.
We saw C.J. Stroud have a great 1 year. We saw Jordan Love have really a great 1 year, and then he's been pretty good after that. I mean,
has there been a quarter? We should look. I mean, add up all of Mahomes from. What was it? I guess it would be 19, right, until 26, or until before this year. He was the lowest he was 8, right? He was 1 twice. He was 4 times. I can't imagine they have been doing this like since the 50s or anything like that. But I can't imagine a quarterback's been on a run for that long because it is so reactionary to where if I mean, I'm sure Brady was in the teens at some point and then bounced back and won a Super Bowl or whatever. People get tired of guys at the top, and this list reflects that. And so, but 18 is just kind of
have
hilarious.
we seen a quarterback, though, get more love after 1 year than Drake May? And I like Drake May. I think
Mahomes was 4 after
and he won
his
the
first
MVP,
year.
though,
But he was
historic.
50 touchdowns.
Yeah, like it was his.
Yeah.
I mean, and I know
50 and
Drake May
5,000.
almost won MVP. I get that.
Yeah.
But like, it wasn't like this historic season.
No.
I'm a little perplexed at the love, the immense love.
I'm old enough to remember when it was Mahomes and Deshaun Watson are going to be the AFC, Manning and Brady.
You're always going to try to find somebody else. They're looking for somebody else
But
to
even
put up
Watson
there.
had that 1 year that was,
That's what I'm saying,
absurd.
like, right? And then it was going to
But
be
it was
Mahomes
1
and
year.
Watson,
But like,
and then it was going to be Mahomes and
Herbert
Lamar,
one time.
Mahomes and Herbert,
It's
Mahomes
like-
and Burrow, Mahomes and Allen.
Allen.
Excuse me, now it's Allen and Mahomes. I
It's
mean,
like-
now
But
that Allen
he's
has
not.
surpassed them.
He's not part of the duo anymore. Going by this list, if he's the 4th ranked quarterback, it's
apparently
to be
May-
Allen and May.
it is another AFC quarterback.
That's exactly right.
It's weird how and those are 2
Does that make
Northeast quarterbacks. That's weird.
But does that
they
make
would
it-
slant that way? Wait, they would tilt it that way? The vote would go that way to the Northeast?
If it's Allen and May is the Brady and Manning, does that make Mahomes Phillip Rivers?
I guess for a year or for
If
like
only
a
he could-
month until he's got 15 touchdowns and 2 interceptions and
If only he could win a Super Bowl, Phillip Rivers. He's just getting Rivers out there. Yeah, that's it's so great. Number 18 in the NFL, whatever. Because it was even like, again, when Lamar was number 1 and Patrick was number 4. And you're like, okay, well, Patrick should be number 1. Well, I mean, the players are vote. Who knows better than the players?
plenty of people.
A lot of people.
Literally almost anyone
A
else.
lot of people know better than the players.
Because the players vote for their friends, their alumni.
Yeah.
They vote because they don't want to. They just want to get it over with.
It's
their teammates.
top of mind, right? What happened last year? Oh man, this Drake May tore us up. I got to vote for him. And we didn't play the Chiefs this year, so vote for Patrick.
We'll see. We'll see what next year's is. I'm going to guess
the last thing they're doing is watching a lot of other games too.
Right. Exactly. I'm going to guess that Mahomes will be higher than 18.
next
Higher
year.
or lower? We'll be 1 through 17 next year at the beginning of the 2027 season.
I'll go that way too.
That's
If
probably,
he's not, something has seriously gone wrong.
yeah, that would be rough. If the season goes the way that you would hope, he would be anywhere from 1 through 17. Hopefully number 1.
And winner of Comeback Player of the Year.
Yeah, which, boy, there are a lot of people that are going to be upset about that. That, apparently tearing an ACL.
It's the most common
MCL.
injury, I heard.
Yeah, I saw that.
You mean the most common injury?
You mean the most really?
Yeah.
Didn't we just talk about like that ligament that he
Burrow's
tore along with the
someone's
LC?
like, the most common injury that gets voted for Comeback Player of the Year as well.
Right.
Joe Burrow might not have a Super Bowl ring. He might not have a Super Bowl MVP. He might
Right.
even have a real MVP.
Nope.
But what he does have,
Yep.
2
Yep.
Comeback Player of the Years.
There it is. I kind of talked about this too. I feel like the award lost its meaning when a guy died on the field and then came back to play the next year and didn't win
Flacco
Comeback
got
Player
it.
of the Year, but
Joe
Joe Flacco got it. I feel like, that guy came back to life and wasn't even Comeback Player of the Year.
I feel like you maybe don't even look at the stats. I'm sure there were numbers, right?
That was the year it didn't matter.
That would incline you to vote for Flacco. But at that point, you're like, no, there's one big factor. I'm gonna play.
Flacco was coming back from teams not thinking he was good enough.
Yes.
That's what he came back from, not playing a whole lot the year before.
I came back from the pearly gates.
He was pulled back by the football gods. He
There
was
was
almost there with the
A
gods.
subsection of Reddit and Twitter who thought he was dead, and that was a body double. Remember
Which
that?
we never know. I mean, maybe it is a body
Maybe
double.
I've interviewed
Yeah.
him a couple of times. It's him.
I've seen maybe they found a body double that is just as good as him at football, where he's kind of second string. This guy trying to
That would
hang on
actually
certain
be the
years.
hardest part. The hardest part would be the football
Yes.
aspect. I didn't even think of that.
But I just love the people that are frustrated or upset about that. Like, he missed 3 games. You understand the comeback is that he's coming back from a knee injury where he tore 2. That's the comeback part of it, is you have to come back from that injury. What did Adrian Peterson miss? 5 minutes that season when he tore his ACL? Came back. That's the whole point of, like, he tore his ACL so late in the season that he wasn't going to be able to play the next year.
Yeah, Flacco.
But then he came back in 9 months and played and rushed for 2,000.
All these
He was
other
comeback player of the
metrics,
year.
though, are just, talk about win-loss record, not making the playoffs. His overall numbers, because he played 3 less games. Look at all the metrics in the numbers.
Yeah.
And if he comes back and throws for 40 touchdowns and 4,500 yards or something like that, then that is a huge comeback from what happened last year.
You're right. Flacco came back from being ass.
Okay.
Right? I mean, like, that's.
Yeah.
I feel like that the injury,
Adrian Peterson missed 4 games that year when he tore his ACL, and Mahomes has missed 3 games.
nuts.
Well, no, actually, Adrian Peterson got injured on December 24th. So Adrian Peterson missed the last game of the season. He tore his ACL in week 16, game 15.
Mm-hmm.
And so he missed 1 game with the torn ACL, came back, rushed for 2,000 yards, comeback player of the year. Like, I feel like it's what you're coming back from. But anyway, I'm not sure how we got on that conversation there, except for Mahomes being number 18, or people being upset about the comeback player of the year, or it being May versus Allen, as opposed to like Mahomes has now slid behind them, especially to Dan Orlovsky. Mahomes is number 9.
This will be interesting. If he gets comeback player of the year,
can you win?
What's left for him? Like, what's the next award? Walter Payton Man of the Year, right? Is that the only thing he doesn't have yet?
Wouldn't have that.
Obviously, for All-Pro, Pro Bowl.
He's not one offensive player of the year.
I was going to say defensive player of the year. He's never won defensive player of the year.
You're wrong.
Has he
won
won?
He's won defensive player of the year?
Has he won offensive?
2018, he won.
Yeah, when he won MVP and
He did. He won
player.
both.
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
But
No,
again,
they did that. I thought just like, all right, here's an award for somebody
Second best
not a
quarterback.
quarterback. No, usually it's the running back or receiver.
offensive player of the year
He
was
was
the
that good.
non-quarterback.
Give him all the awards.
Will you check and see if he's won defensive player of the year?
Okay, stop. We get it. He's no.
Well, maybe on one of they do that. Maybe on one of the trophies they had a misprint like they did last year.
Travis Hunter could potentially do that, win both. He's not going to, but like if there was ever someone who could.
He is the best candidate. You're
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yes.
I think offensively the only 2 things he really has left are comeback player of the year and then the Walter Payton Man of the Year. If he gets that, I mean, that is...
For like a yearly award.
Yeah,
yes.
like a year. That is a full...
There's like touchdown
trophy.
records he could go get for a single season,
but I meant
yards,
like
whatever.
Yeah. He has the all-time most yards per game. And he has the highest passing success rate in NFL history.
Yeah, I was looking at it because I'm like, okay, comeback player of the year and MVP. That was AP in 2012. He was comeback player of the year and the MVP when he had the 2,000 yards.
Which, I mean,
if back when we were cool with giving
if Mahomes wins MVP, he is
back.
a lock for comeback player of the year.
Yes, I agree with
if
that.
we care that much about it.
Yes.
I care more about the MVP part.
One doesn't necessarily lead to the other, but there is one of them that absolutely would lead to the other. If you're MVP, you're going to be comeback player of the year. Comeback player of the year doesn't
I
necessarily
would
mean
settle
MVP.
for comeback player of the year right now, and that means he had a pretty good year.
Yeah.
And he most likely finished the year.
You know what? I'll be okay. I'll be on Bills fans' side on this one. I'm okay if Mahomes wins MVP and not comeback player of the year. I'm good with that. If they're so mad about comeback player of the year,
that's right.
I'm
Let's do
good
that.
with just the MVP, and comeback player of the year can go to somebody else that really had to come back from something. Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald can be comeback player of the year.
Honestly, I wouldn't hate it.
Miles Teller.
Not Miles Taylor.
Miles Garrett?
No, Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons. Now
Yes,
that
there you
could
go.
be.
Yeah.
I don't know what his timeline is now. It's saying he ain't going to be week 1.
I mean, but yeah, that seems to be
Because
more.
that was the same day, right?
Yeah, but he's coming back from a knee injury though. Like
Honestly,
like,
if they
that's
both had really good years, I'd give it to Micah. A different position.
It's a tougher position to come back
from.
Yes, I'm with you on that one.
By the way, for Aaron Donald, how good do you have to be to retire because you're done?
Aaron Donald good.
And then a super team gets formed in LA, and you're like, yeah, I think I might just play again.
Haven't played.
And
in
the
a few
team's
years.
like, yeah, sure, go ahead, play for us.
Aaron Donald or Jordan. One of the two.
Like you know how crazy that
Of
is.
course,
Most
Aaron
times,
Donald didn't get suspended by the NFL. But anyway,
I think it's just nuts. Very underrated part of that is, how old is he now? Like 35?
It's not as old as you think.
He's
Yeah,
2 years
but
younger than
he retired
Kelsey.
He retired pretty
I was
early.
going to say he's 2 years younger than
Yeah, that's
Kelsey.
what I'm saying. He's not as
Kelsey's
old as you think.
about to turn 37.
Younger than Calais Campbell by about 5 years.
Wow. But also, like, you see the workouts. Remember, it was Verse, was it a couple of years ago, was talking about, or maybe last year at training camp, was talking about how awful it was working out with Aaron Donald and was like wanting to quit. And he had some funny lines about that one time. He's like, never again. And that was the workout with Aaron Donald. And that's what he does every day. Like, yeah, he's going to be staying in shape. And if he wants to come back and play, I think he'll probably be pretty good. But again, he'll probably be pretty good, but we also don't know because he's been working out, but he hasn't been playing football in a couple of years. There's a big difference between, like, this guy is amazing in the weight room, but I bet if you put Donald and Jared Verse on the field 2 hours after that workout, I would take Jared Verse against an offensive lineman that quickly because Donald hadn't had the pads on for a while.
It is defensive tackle. It's not like it's wide receiver where the football's involved. I bet he can get it back quicker based on the position.
Yeah, I don't.
Dude, it is. I mean, just 111 sacks in his career in 10 seasons. 11 sacks a year.
If you average double digits a season at
defensive
tackle.
At D tackle.
At 3 tech.
And
or
getting double
1 probably
teamed.
some of the time to get double team, yes.
In 10 years, 8 times first team All-Pro. The only 2 times he wasn't was his rookie year, when he won Defensive Rookie of the Year, and the only year he missed like really multiple games, which is when he had only played 11 games.
But also coming back, he would restart the clock for that gold jacket. You know, because right now he'd be 3 years away from that gold jacket.
He's probably thinking the gold jacket, green jacket. Who gives a?
I don't think he's going to get a green jacket. I mean, unless he buys one. He can buy one. He can have one all he wants. I'm not saying he can't have a green jacket, and he might be able to pull it off with fashion.
I've seen him do other sports like ping pong and everything. Maybe he could pick up golf and be pretty good at it right
That's a
away.
good point. That's a very good point. Let's take a timeout. We'll come back, and I want to talk home runs. There was one last night.
They're fun.
Yes, home runs are fun. There was one last night that was pretty controversial, and there was one that was an anniversary of last night that was not necessarily controversial, but really fun from a rough start. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling more zone next. I'm not sure we can predict what the rest of this show will be. Who knows? We got just a couple of segments left, and maybe it's Michael Darcy running it. Maybe it's Mick Schaefer. I have no idea. But in Cauchy, you know what? We can make predictions on a lot of different things and play the different markets that go along with Cauchy. It can be sports and politics and culture. In fact, you know, we like to play a little game called Rotten Tomatoes on Wednesday. Right now, you can go to Cauchy and Insidious out. Of what took place. So this would have been the home run late in the game for Pete Alonso that would have given them the lead against the Yankees in a pretty pivotal divisional game and trying to make the playoffs. And from all angles, it was fair. It was fair by it looked like 5 feet to the right of the foul pole. And then when it landed, it looked like it landed to the right of the foul pole. It was called foul on the field, and they stayed with the call, and the call stands, even though it should have been overturned to a pretty easy home run. And here's Pete Alonso, pretty professional post game for him, but also sort of weighing in on some of the parts of why are we still doing this with other aspects of replay?
Were you fully expecting that call to be overturned?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, just based on the video, also the Hawkeye had it fair, in the dugout, there was no, looking at the video, the view from where the camera was pointing straight down the line, from what it looked like, I mean, it was to the right of the yellow and the pulse, so I thought it was fair, but what I was told is there was, in order to overturn a call, you need to have 2 camera angles to confirm it. But the best view, there's the only view that shows the ball fair or foul is the one down the line, but no other camera angle is available. Video room ruled it foul. Umpire obviously called it foul initially. It is what it is. I mean, the video room and umpire at third base, I mean, they called it foul. That's the only opinions that really matter. And kudos to them for responding, breaking the tie that next half inning, and kudos to Hedrick for making some really tough pitches after a loud strike one. I mean, they executed and they bear down and they got it done, and we didn't. Obviously, that's a really defining call in the game, but you got to, when adversity is faced, you got to push past it and move through it.
Are you surprised that MLB technology hasn't gotten to the point where they can use more definitive measures to determine whether it's fair or foul?
Well, I mean, we have Hawkeye. I think a simple fix is like football. You have the pylon camera, with the plane, where it shoots right across the goal line. And I feel like for us, we could easily have a laser or a camera that shoots straight up. I mean, for me, I'm not the only one. It happens all the time to a bunch of guys throughout the course of the year. It happens a lot during the season. Obviously, this is a big game in division, so obviously this one's going to be a little bit more amplified. But this happens quite a few times throughout the season, more than you would think. And I think having a camera or a laser shooting straight up, I mean, we have all the technology, analytics, and whatever, and funds. I mean, I don't see why we can't do it, but the reason why I've told it we can't do it is because every ballpark is different, and that is every ballpark is unique. It's not the same dimensions everywhere. So that's to my understanding of it. Obviously, it sucks for us. Sucks, but it is what it is. And the umpire, and then the umpire made the call on the field, and the review room stood with that call, and that's what we have to live with and move on. And we have to, as a team and individually, bear down and respond to adversity.
The whole interview was like 11 or 12 minutes with Pete Alonso, and it was like awesome because after that they're like,
losing it.
And he was like, yeah, he's like, I missed the next one. It was a really good pitch, whatever it was. And he's like, and I think I did a good job calling timeout and gaining my composure. And I saw how it worked. And he's like, and then just that 1-2 pitch, he just got me. He threw a great pitch. Like he wasn't complaining like, well, shouldn't have struck out anyway. Like, I mean, it should have been a home run. But the whole talk about like the different ballparks all have different dimensions. Like, that's BS because we have ABS with all the ballparks that have different dimensions of where the stands are, how high or low the camera can be on. Like Gallagher-Iba was the worst to watch a basketball game at because it felt like you were watching it from the top, right? And then you'd have like, different camera angles for different arenas. Well, not every single seating capacity in the way that they are, how high the club level or, the media is the press box, all of that stuff. It's all different. Just because the outfield wall is different,
I don't understand that reasoning.
Like Hawkeye they showed pictures of Hawkeye, and it was
Explain what Hawkeye is. That a camera or is that more of a laser?
Camera, it's like the laser
like
ABS sort of thing, and the Hawkeye had it like so far to the right of the left field foul pole. It was so fair.
Hear me out. We could use our eyes.
That works too.
My peepers told me that was a fair call.
So
anybody that officiates or umpires, they have bad eyes. That's how that works. You can't trust that.
Fine if you call it foul on the field, sure. But based on the it was obvious.
I feel like the people in the booth on the review are way worse umpires than the ones in the field. These are the guys that can't make it or something like that or are too old or whatever. They screw this up. Like you said, it happens way more than you think. And that's just it seems like such an easy fix. It seems like way easier to put a laser up a foul pole than it is to put a box over the plate and you change it every at bat based on the guy's height.
There's like in baseball, there are places where a camera should be. Football, there's an obvious one where the camera should be on the goal line.
Honestly,
like
football could have a laser easily.
Laser.
They got.
But there's nothing more annoying than watching like a college game and they go to replay and the camera angles from like the 10-yard line.
Yeah, you can't tell.
Like,
what's that angle?
How do you not have if this is broadcast, you should probably have an angle right down the goal line.
The big crews do, but the average games you're going to have maybe 8 or 10 cameras as opposed to 15 on the big ones.
Yeah, but that's kind of a big place to have a camera to see if it's a touchdown or not.
In college sports, though, it's just free
That's
athletics.
true.
There's no money.
They do
in
lose
it, so
money
you
there.
Can't.
But couldn't you have a camera there on the foul pole looking straight up? They've got it on the pylon at the
laser, man.
Yeah.
And down the line, you see the Phillies-Marlins game the other night?
That was brutal.
What a bad call. But they have to stick by the rules of it was fair, but we can't score all 3 runners. I don't know why there's not like a line of demarcation to where if you look, okay, that last runner has passed third base, is 2 steps beyond, and the guy with the ball is this far away, why you can't say, I'm going to be logical here, and that run scores.
And also, he's a fast runner, and it was 2 outs and running on contact. 2 outs, running on contact, and the ball not only was fair, it's not like it kicked chalk. It landed to the left of the right field foul line.
And
it landed to the left.
in front of the dude.
Right in front of the umpire.
And I get it. It's going 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
It's tougher than it looks. But
that one was a quick ABS
These
challenge,
guys
too.
are at the level where we see all the time that, okay, they're good enough to make that call.
Yeah, they were able to come back and be like, all right, so we know it's fair, but the reason it took a little time is we had to go through, and by rule, it's a double and we can only...
And they lost by 1, I think, that game.
Yeah, that was the tying run.
The best idea. I've been on this for a while now.
Here it goes.
For reviews.
Ready, everybody?
You have someone just in a safe house in Secaucus, New Jersey.
Safe house. Okay.
He's not allowed to leave the basement. Right. You feed him down there. He's just down there.
Okay.
He has no idea what the call in the field is. He has no idea.
Yeah, so the call can't stand. He's got to make a rule.
He's got to make a call.
I've pushed for that in football forever. They should just re-officiate the call.
Correct.
Not be like a court case where burden of proof, we got to be 99% sure. We got to re-officiate the call. What do you think?
But go to Seymour in Secaucus, New Jersey, who's just basically shackled in the basement, and this way he has no idea what the call is. He doesn't know who these players are, so he has no
Forcing
bias.
some to do it against their will. I love this.
Yeah,
yes.
He has no bias.
Shackled.
Well, because this way he doesn't know who the Bengals and Chiefs are.
He's Chunk and Goonies.
Yeah.
Rocky Road?
Because this way he's no
bias
bias
against. I think Chunk was the kid, wasn't he?
Not Chunk, Sloth. Jeez Louise, Sloth. You're coming to live with me, Sloth. Huh? Would you like that?
By the way, he played for the Chiefs.
Yeah, you did.
By the way, the Brewers are
Road.
already up 6-0 on Seattle in the bottom of the first. Remember how they won 22-0? Yeah, no,
And then
6-0.
Was it Rodriguez that threw the second out into the
three-run score on a sac fly.
They have everybody to score?
Everybody scored.
Yeah.
3 runs scored on a sac fly. You don't see that very often. It's not something you see very often. What you don't see very often either, Mick, is what happened 6 years ago last night. So 6 years ago today during the show, we were talking about, we were talking about this. Play clip number 3 for me if you can, Michael. This was 6 years ago last night, and we were talking about it 6 years ago today.
I made a comment earlier tonight that I guess went out over the air that I am deeply ashamed of. If I have hurt anyone out there, I can't tell you how much I say from the bottom of my heart. I'm so very, very sorry. I pride myself and think of myself as a man of faith. As there's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos, it will be a home run. And so that'll make it a 4-0 ball game. I don't know if I'm going to be putting on this headset again.
It's not.
I don't know if it's going to be for the Reds.
It won't be.
I don't know if it's going to be for my bosses at Fox.
It won't be. It won't be. So
is he back doing anything?
He's doing different stuff, but not with Bachmeyer, pretty man, but not doing anything there. And that led us to then what became this trend. Because what I didn't realize, because we were talking about it, I didn't realize it was a number of years in a row. So let's fast forward to, that was in 2020. Let's fast forward to 2021. In Kansas City, this took place while talking about George Gorman, who had passed away, and his, I believe, son had been a part, grandson, a part of the Royals. Yep, and this call with Ryan Lefebvre.
There's a drive into deep left center field, and there's never a great time to eulogize someone during the broadcast, so we apologize for the timing.
That took place the very next year in 2022.
Castellanos, right?
Castellanos.
Yes, Castellanos.
The very next year in 2022.
Was that a drive every time?
Yep.
The gold chair, which will sit vacant here at Citizens Bank Park, honoring those who paid the ultimate sacrifice. Castellanos rips one in deep left field. It is gone!
I didn't realize it was 3 consecutive baseball seasons that Castellanos had that, 20, 21, and 22.
He's got more than 3.
Oh, I know, but it just happened. Those won 3 consecutive. Like the one where Biden dropped out of the race, Castellanos hit a home run that night. Right. The Pope passed away, Castellanos hit a home run. Or no, was that when the Pope died and then FanDuel and DraftKings had to take Castellanos off the board because all of the money was flooding in on Castellanos home run. So they actually had to shut it down and not allow people to bet on a Castellanos home run. It was one of those big events that took place, and everybody rushed to start placing Castellanos home run. But yeah, there's a number of them out there. There's a few that you look at that people are like, that's a stretch. You're trying to make it something here. But those 3 were legit in the middle of an apology, eulogizing George Gorman, talking about the gold seat for those, that was Memorial Day, the gold seat that will never be sat in at Citizens Bank Park to honor those that gave the ultimate sacrifice. And there's a drive into left field by Castellanos. Like, those were legit as it was happening.
He's like, what's this? Was it Chaz, the funeral crasher?
That's right.
Grief is nature's aphrodisiac, basically. That's Castellanos.
Damn you, Roger.
He hit a home run as broadcasters were pivoting to honor the Queen Elizabeth II passing.
So there you go. We need to find that.
That was in 2022.
Audio. That was in 22 as well?
Yeah.
He was amazing, man. I just remember which one was the I need to find out.
So I had
which one was
that was during COVID.
Yes,
that
me too.
The Reds were here, so no crowd really, right? Just cardboard cutouts. That was one of those, by the way.
You were a cardboard cutout. That's right. I wanted to be a cardboard cutout so bad. It was like a lifelong dream to be a cardboard cutout, but that was not the case. Which is the one with Yep. Yeah. So last year, April of last year, Pope Francis. When Pope Francis died, April 21st, 2025, the sports bets had to lock betting on Castellanos hitting a home run. BetMGM said there were over 3 times as many bets that came in immediately for Castellanos to hit a home run, so they locked it down. FanDuel locked it on Castellanos hitting a home run. He didn't actually he didn't get a hit that night. They should have left it up.
Locked it down.
They should have left it up. They could have made a killing on it. He's really cleaning up. Is Chaz the meatloaf? So yeah, there you go. That was 6 years ago last night with There's a Drive,
man,
and 6 years ago today we were talking about one of the greatest apologies we've ever heard, and the irony of it was hit to left field, and they had the advertisement on the fountains, and was it a 24-hour Lifetime Fitness where everybody's accepted or something like that? No judgment.
No judgment zone.
No judgment zone. That's what it was. No judgment zone, that he hits it right next to it, and Brenneman's apologizing for what he said.
I wonder if COVID lent itself to that, to where there's more of a skeleton crew there, less people there.
Mike was left on.
Felt more comfortable, like saying, "There's only just my buddies here."
Yeah,
and
not
maybe
expecting his mic to be on
yeah.
in the break. I don't know if have we heard anybody else's mic on in a break, even if it's just
yeah, you hear it time to time. Yeah,
but I mean, like on
usually
Major League broadcasts, and stuff like where it's like at the break, in the middle of the break.
Is that what it was? It wasn't coming back. It was like
it was
middle of the
it was like
commercial,
middle.
yeah.
Like they were just showing because when they connected the audio to it, it was like players were like warming up and they're redoing the field and stuff like that.
St. Louis is where he's talking about, right?
I'm not sure which city.
You're right.
No, it was San Francisco.
I thought it was St. Louis.
Anyway, well, a lot of people said it's about here because it was in Kansas City.
No, I think where they were going next.
Yeah, I thought it was. That's why.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but so yeah, here's.
Yeah, don't play the actual part what he said.
Yeah, no, don't do that. Here, when people are trying to maybe connect too much, it says an hour after the announcement of Willie Mays, Castellanos hit a walk-off double.
I mean, people die every day.
Yeah,
famous people die every day.
Yeah, it's kind of a stretch there. And then it was after Ovechkin broke Wayne Gretzky's goal record, he hit a home run for the Dodgers. Like, come on. See, when you do that, now you sort of you diminish what the other ones were when it was 3 years in a row.
It was San Francisco.
Was it?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have that documented? Was he in like an interview or something?
I
thought we heard it.
We heard it.
Yeah, we heard it.
Yeah, we heard it.
I just heard that part of it, and I didn't know what city. But
there you
go.
He named San Francisco.
There you go. We will. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, and while we're talking about this, does Castellanos, is he going to hit a home run today somewhere? I don't know. I don't think he's playing. But
there's a deep drive into left field.
And there's a drive into left field, and that's going to be a home run in a 4-0 ball game. I don't even know if I'm going to be on the other side of the broadcast here. I don't even know if we're going to be connected next. because it was me, Sterling, well, me again. So Sterling, me, Mick, Michael, Kyle. That's 5 consecutive breaks. Somebody else
probably
bringing
never
it back.
happened.
It's got to be a record.
Call
man.
Guinness. They'll come and they'll just.
Kyle's going to get Petro.
Hold on. No,
Curtis
Petro
will do
is the
that.
next one.
Curtis will do it
Curtis
first.
will do the first. Curtis, and then Seren.
Yeah.
That's 7 straight segments on 810 brought back by a different
And then
voice.
where's Leabo for the end of the 2 o'clock hour?
Well,
Wait,
he's
have
at
we
the
done-
meeting.
Have we done 5 in a row?
Yeah,
Sorry,
we've done
Jaden
5 in a row.
Daniels. Jaden Daniels is pissed right now.
That thing's taken off
Dude, those-
as much as there's a drive by Castellanos.
The teams that are paying tribute to Jaden Daniels has
Did you see
been great.
the Department of Wildlife or whatever?
No.
Oh, God. This National Department of Wildlife, the Interior or something like that, said they showed a picture of these bison. It said it's 4 more days until park season or something like that. We would have said it yesterday, but out of respect, we waited. So even they're dragging him.
That's
The
like
Department of the Interior or something like that.
Gary Woodland hold out to go from 4 to 6 under, and someone goes in honor of Jaden Daniels out of respect. Gary Woodland Eagles
Didn't
his
say
whole
5. That's a shame because I like Jaden Daniels, and I think that was probably almost mom. But
Yeah.
it is.
Well, one of them
funny.
was like to respect Jaden Daniels' mom. We went ahead and scored only 4 runs tonight. Was one of the tweets from one of the baseball teams. We didn't stop at 5 just in case. We went ahead and scored 1 more run to get to 6 to protect Jaden Daniels.
Do we think there's any chance he thought that this would have happened?
No, of course not.
No way.
And I wonder if he even knew about the LSU thing,
LSU
mom
thing,
pulling those strings.
That might have been.
That sounds like a mom who's bitter,
right?
Yeah.
Right? And the athlete usually is like, I don't care, but the parent's very protective and all that. And like, oh wait, he was just as good as Burrow. And
I love that. Then they showed like replays, like last year, Mahomes up in the suite watching Texas Tech, and like a random kick returner wearing number 5.
They have 2
running
number
around.
5s on
Yes.
the Texas Tech roster
Yes.
this year.
By the way, Saturday, my family is heading out to the Platte County Sports Commission, the annual Family Sports Fest, coming up on the 22nd. It's held in conjunction with the Parkville Day celebration, the parade going on there. I think I might try to find a way for my son and daughter to get in the parade, sneak into the parade, and just walk down
Jump
there.
on a moving vehicle.
Nobody will know, but it is free, starting at 11 o'clock at English Landing Park, and families have the opportunity to do a variety of sports. Tug of war, multiple mascots will be there. In fact, all of the pro teams' mascots will be there coming up on Saturday, so we'll be hanging out there. My son, a big fan of mascots. He's like, oh, it's a mascot. But Blue will be there.